Yo. It's Grapsody with Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, got to fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between. Yeah, it's all that, and we're down with Fightful, better fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
Welcome. We're here. We're in the building. 2 dread-headed individuals powered by Rode microphones.
Yep.
In the building. This is Grapsody. I'm Phil Lindsey. Of course, with my co-host as always, Righteous Reg. What's going on, bro?
In the building, it's your boy, your favorite rapper, your favorite writer, your favorite podcaster, Double R, Triple R, not a pro wrestling. Forgot what my tagline was. It's not my tagline anymore. In the building, Phil. What's going on? It's Saturday morning. Very excited to be here. It's been hot as hello in Oakland, and I say hot, and it's only been like 72 degrees. But that's what the game is like these days. Global warming is destroying the earth, and I think it's very interesting. How's it going out there in Chicago these days?
It's going. It's been the usual. It's the usual that time of year where it's deceptively sunny outside, so it tricks you into thinking that it's warm, but it actually is not. Yeah, it's been cooling. I messaged you and somebody else the other day because I seen guys, you know, that was doing a little flip flopping, man, doing a little snake dancing, man.
It was the week of the flip flopper for sure. I'm like, yo, your opinion's very different this week than it was a couple weeks ago.
It was a little nasty, man, because certain folks had certain things to say about us, had certain things to say about a friend of ours that was also on this show that gave you guys a percentage. And let me be the first to tell you, yeah, we were right. I'm sorry, but let them
know, Phil.
Sometimes, what does the gospel tell you? Sometimes when you go to church and you listen to all the fine gospel singers tell you, might not come when you want it, but it'll be right there on time, baby. Sometimes you gotta wait for it. Sometimes it may take a year. Sometimes it may take a few months. But yeah, I just seen how people tried to slander our names. I seen how people were talking crazy on our boss too. Yeah, I just, it's always okay to say that you were wrong, man. It's always okay. I've seen them clips go up when people thought that, they got a one up on us and were like, oh, these guys, they were wrong about this punk thing. Hey, man, that's cool. We were wrong about that. Not this, though. Was not wrong about this.
Not this one.
But that's all right. I never see any of the same talk when we're right. But I do see this every time where people think they can get one up on us and say we were wrong about something, even if sometimes it's premature, even if it's sometimes I know something that I can't tell you guys quite yet. But I seen it. Don't ever let it be seen that I don't. Don't ever think I don't see things. I do see it just because I didn't say nothing. I seen it.
I see you. There was times where I was like, should I? I'm gonna let these people know, but no. Let's wait till the pod. I'll let Phil tell them, and everything will be fine.
Nah. Should I? Nah. You better be good to me. Rest in peace to Tina Turner. God-damn it. You better be good to me.
Let's go.
Cause I ain't got the time.
This is
for all your lies.
Where we landed, you guys.
better be good to me.
It's been some time. Like injuries and stuff added on to the trajectory of where this person was going to land. But we all knew what was going to happen. Yeah. We all knew what time it was. And they try to drag our names through the mud on the way up there. And we were just patient about it.
Yeah, listen, man. We'll get into the specifics of that. But I just wanted to open this episode by saying it. I see it. Listen, be good. Be good to me.
Do it.
Just trying to tell you, man.
Be it.
Just trying to tell you, man.
What a wild way to start the show. The funniest thing of yesterday was Booker T saying Me and CM Punk got into a scuffle. I'm not gonna tell you about it. I'm gonna tell you about it after the show. Me and CM Punk, we got into a scuffle. I'm not gonna. Don't ask me about it. The internet's gonna go crazy out this. Internet goes crazy out this. We're all like, "Yo, what's Booker T talking about? I wonder what this is about." And then Booker T comes back and is like, "What's up with y'all? Why y'all acting all crazy? It's just a 2-minute clip off a 2-hour podcast." And it's like, "But Booker T, you told us that. You told us to." Find this and then not find, like, what's going on here? What's happening here?
You're the one that put this out here, my friend. You did. It's not like Melter put this report out. It's not like some random, dirt sheet guy or whoever else that you guys, say you hate from wrestling media all the time or throw the blame on, put this out there. You did this, sir. You put this out there. And so I thought it was all bizarre. He said something like, for all you know, we could have got into it over banana or something. I was just like, all right. But you put this out here. Like, Punk hasn't said anything about it. I haven't heard anything else from this. This all came from you, sir. So I'm very confused as to what does any of this mean. Booker also chimed in on the Sami Zayn stuff, and that was kind of weird too. I was just like,
what's up with this?
What's happening here? Listen, man. Respect to Booker, legend, one of the greatest tag team wrestlers ever.
Facts.
Guy should be in the conversation of greatest of all time for his individual accomplishments as well. But listen, there's something we want you to talk about, and it's not CM Punk, it's not the Sami Zayn thing. You've been ducking a conversation about this reality of wrestling thing for a minute.
Talk about snaking around,
and that's what that's why I keep thinking you're gonna have this moment where you get on your podcast and do, but that hasn't happened. But you're sliding into these other things, and it's very strange to me, man.
This guy's doing like engagement tweets as pod bits. Like, is that a thing?
It's bizarre, man. I didn't know what to make of it when I believe we were talking when I saw it, and I was just like, what does this mean though? Like, you're telling us something happened, but then you're like, the internet's gonna go crazy over. The internet's gonna pick this up. Nah, but I can't tell you because the internet's gonna run with it. I'm
gonna tell you after the pod. The internet's gonna go too crazy. It's like, okay, yes, we're gonna go crazy. Tell us about it, and then, why are y'all going crazy? You told it. You set us up for this, bro. You softballed this to us, and then you're wondering why we're questioning it. Just really funny stuff. He does a lot of stuff like that where he's like, man, I was just talking on the podcast. I mean, somebody did bring up a good point. Somebody did bring up a good point where they're like, oh, Booker T's just unked that one that, he always like has the stories where he embellishes. He's at the barbecue. You want to sit next to him, but you like, after you're done, you're like, Unk be lying his ass off. But there's some great stories though, right?
Yeah, I just don't know what's going on here, man. I don't know what to make of that. It was very strange. It was very strange.
Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of that going on surrounding this week, and I want to ban the word ratings from the lexicon, from the internet, from the universe. I wish we could just burn it down to the ground because I'm tired of it, Phil. Like, it's so much discourse just surround. Everyone's like chiming in, and it's like, bro, everybody that's talking about it don't even contribute to these things that they're talking about. So it's like, what are you? I don't understand what's going on here.
When I used to work on a trading floor, there was a salesman. His name was Tony Coates. Did not think I would ever get Tony Coates reference off on this podcast, but here we are.
Shout out to Tony Coates.
His name was Tony Coates, and anytime somebody jumped in this conversation, he'd go chime, 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 chime. There was a lot of chiming going on this week, man, and I sat back and I watched, and I was just like, I have no interest in a lot of this, but it was a lot of chiming going on.
Tony Coates, chime, 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 chime. Tony Coates is in there getting his shit off, huh?
Nah, Tony Coates was a character, man. He had this laugh, like unmistakable laugh, man. It was almost like it sounded a lot like Grimace, man. It sounded like a car, like the muffler had some issues with it, man. Just
shout out to Tony Coates. He maybe listens to this podcast. I don't know. Like,
that would be insane if he listens to this podcast.
He's like, that's the dude I used to be on the, what did you call it? The cutting room floor?
Right, the trading floor.
Trading floor, yeah.
Also, a very much known Jay Cutler fan. I mean, hater. And so another funny story with Jay Cutler, with him and Tony Coates, is that he hated Jay Cutler, and so he used to make fun of me all the time for being a Bears fan and being a Cutler defender. And so one year on his birthday, I went and got a picture of Jay Cutler, like looked like a nice headshot, and I forged his autograph and I put it on his desk, and I was like, thank to Tony Coates, thanks for always believing me. Sign Jay.
Damn, Phil was getting the office pranks off. That's hard.
Yeah.
You was in your office prank bag, or that was just like that time?
Oh no, I did something else that partially led to my disillusionment with that place and why I ended up leaving. That's a story for another day.
Bit gone a little too far, huh?
Nah, the long story less long. When Trump was running for president, I was listening to "If You're Reading This" a lot that year. That was the Drake album. I was listening to that a lot, and so the day of the election, I did like what the cover of "If You're Seeing This" looks like, right?
Yep.
And so I got a Sharpie out and took a piece of paper, and I basically copied the same font and everything of "If You're Reading This," and it said, "If you're reading this, don't vote Trump," and I put it on the side of my desk. People were not happy with that.
Oh yeah, no, that's a bit that people would not be happy on the day too.
Oh, it was on the day, election day.
Ooh, yeah.
People were not happy with that sign, and I did not care. A lot of people that were my age in office thought it was very funny. I thought it was funny, but hey, man, some of these people that were trying to hide in plain sight, that didn't want people to know they were Trump supporters, they were not happy.
They showed themselves.
Hey, man.
Lots been going on since 2016, man.
An awful year, man. An awful
lot of years, bro.
That was an awful year.
I'm tired of it. It's still going.
Yeah, because we got one of the guys that was supporting him who were working for Kanye West, apparently. But
you saw homie on Big Boy?
No, I did not watch it.
Yeah,
I did. I couldn't bring myself to watch it.
I still can't. Like, even when he looks normal, I don't want to say that. It don't hit. Nothing hits for me. Haven't heard the album. Never will hear the album. None of them. I haven't heard 2 bars of his raps in like 5 years at this point.
No, I haven't heard any of the album. I've heard bits and pieces of the Carnival record that's like his number one record. It's his first number one record in a long time. But other than that, nope. I don't have any real interest.
Don't care at all. I'm so tired.
That's it. She ride the dick like a carnival. That's how it goes.
I don't know. I haven't heard it.
I think that's how it goes. Ride dick like a carnival.
What is this? What happened here?
Yeah.
How do you feel about his there's a clip of him saying that pretty much all the music that's came out in the last 15 years, he created it. He's like, I created Future, I created Young Thug, I created Drake, I created everybody that came out after me pretty much are my sons.
Well, the thing with that is, I think a lot of those guys he named would agree with him because he very much did influence all those guys. The 808s period in particular, that absolutely influenced Thug. Like Thug has been trying to recreate that album ever since then. A lot of Future music since then. Drake, of course, got into his emo bag and all these other things based off what Kanye was doing, subject matter wise. A lot of people that I champion, like Childish Gambino, Chance the Rapper, are all Kanye's sons. This is all true. But I saw somebody else say that we gotta give T-Pain his flowers too, because none of that sound and a lot of stuff that Kanye was doing would have happened if T-Pain didn't popularize it. And that's
Wayne
absolutely
too.
facts.
I think Wayne plays a big role in that too.
But I think Wayne even took a lot from the T-Pain sound. Like I think like that sound around that time period with the auto-tune, like you gotta give T-Pain a lot of credit.
It definitely was T-Pain. Like we were all like T-Pain. I know I didn't like it at all, so I was like, T-Pain, leave us alone.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Kanye is one of the most influential artists of the last decade. I'll never not give him his credit on that. I just think that he's gone far off the reservation, and a lot of the music I have no interest in.
He's out of his brain for sure, but definitely like everybody was influenced by Kanye, myself included, which is, like if you exist in the world from 2004 to now, like how do you not in the hip hop world? It's
Yeah,
pretty wild.
no. I say all the time. At one point, I was a huge Kanye fan.
Same.
Kanye fan.
If this podcast was like 8 years ago, we'd be like the greatest of all time. But it's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
Shame. Let's get into a few super chats. Everybody, of course, you could submit super chats, HumperChats. If you want to get involved in the show, we always appreciate everybody. Van Twin Blade says Warhouse divorce at Glory Pro this Sunday. Losers still talking about view numbers like Nielsen hasn't not been irrelevant for the last decade. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like a bunch of people talking about Nielsen ratings that like don't even contribute to the ratings. So it's like, what does this discourse even matter? Like the way that I watch TV doesn't have anything to do with the ratings. So why would I care about what the ratings are?
I've been very consistent on this podcast and telling people that I don't care about ratings. Even when Will was on this podcast and he liked to dissect those things, I never cared about the ratings. I just not my bag. I just don't care.
There's a moment when I did. I mean, I'm a Monday Night Wars Attitude Era kid, so like that was a thing. But now it's like it's dreadful. I hate it. I don't care because it's not it's not like bad ratings are attached to bad shows. It's just like that's what the ratings are. Like that's where I want to land with it. Is like everybody keeps talking about like AEW only did blah blah blah. They're not gonna ever do much more than that. That's just where we are at this point. I think like the fans like. When they were doing these 1.5s and close to 2, those fans were disgruntled WWE fans. Disgruntled WWE fans came over to AEW for a while, and they were interested in the product because WWE wasn't giving them what they want. Now that company's giving them everything that they want, and they're not coming back. So the fans that are here now, they're hardcore AEW fans that are here to stay. There'll be a little bit of climb. There'll be a little bit of stuff. Mercedes is going to bring along some stuff, but for the most part, it's not going to be like 2 million fans are watching AEW because that's just not the landscape. And a lot of AEW fans watch the product in different ways. They're not sitting in front of a conventional cable box watching the program. That's not what AEW fans are. That's not what this represents.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into some more of the discourse when we talk about Mercedes, but yeah, I didn't have any interest in it, so I just kind of watched it from afar and was like, huh, well, wouldn't be me.
David Reed says, feel like this tag tournament is already a failure for AEW. Yo, controversial take. We know it's FTR Bucks, but why are teams like
do we know
Blackpool Combat Club, Shane Taylor Promotions, LFI, etc. not involved? Do we know that, Phil? I don't know if we know that.
I don't know if we know what the finals are yet, and I don't think I would immediately just say it's a failure just yet. They just put the bracket out. Right. This could end up being fine. I do think that some of the matchups are a choice. I
will say it wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah, yeah. I was expecting to see Blackpool Combat Club in there for sure. That's the biggest surprise for me that Blackpool Combat Club is not on the bracket.
Right.
Here, let me get the bracket in front of me while I'm saying that.
But I mean, teams that I was interested in winning this are in this, so I can't be totally out of this. I think I expected it to be more teams too, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me just get that in front of me before I guess. But yeah, of course, the AEW World Tag Team Championship tournament was announced right after Revolution because, of course, Sting and Darby won that night. So Sting retired as champion, and they vacated the belts shortly after that. The bracket was dropped this week on Rampage. First match will be tonight on Collision. I believe the first match is the Infantry versus House of Black, which makes sense because Infantry showed up on Collision last week. House of Black have been Collision staples. But yeah, bracket as it stands. We've got the Young Bucks going up against Private Party. Did not expect that to happen right off the bat.
Callback, sort of, I guess. Yeah,
big callback, but I think
Yeah.
my initial thought on it is that I wanted Private Party to go far in this tournament,
Yeah.
and seeing them facing them in the first round
Not a
definitely
good
makes me
sign.
feel like that's not going to happen.
Right.
Because based on what the Young Bucks characters are right now, I feel like this was purposely done to make the point of, hey, we were doing this thing before being,
Nice guys.
trying to be nice and trying to put
Mhm.
guys over and trying to
Mhm.
give people spots. And I think they're going to just beat Private Party definitively or cheat to beat
Or
them
cheat them.
in the first round, which is unfortunate. But
Yeah.
we've got Undisputed Era, and they're going to take on the wild card. And the wild card will be the winner of Best Friends versus Don Callis family. Don Callis family's team will be, that is a small picture.
The big homie and Fletcher, maybe, I think.
It's gonna be Kyle Fletcher and Powerhouse Hobbs.
Mhm.
Even that, it's just like, it makes it very clear, just looking at that wild card slot, that Best Friends are gonna win that and move on. Like,
Mhm.
there's no real suspense there. I think there's some suspense in the other wild card because the way that they've positioned Infantry coming up, there's a real chance Infantry could beat House of Black, and that would be an interesting upset. But
After that promo last week with Infantry and FTR.
yeah, and
Mhm.
speaking of, that would be the winner of Infantry and House of Black will face FDR in the first round. So it very much feels like there's a very good chance that Infantry can win that match and face FTR in the first round.
That would be a really big win, man. Hopefully it happens.
Yeah, the other first round matchup will be Ricky Starks and Big Bill facing off against Top Flight. So I have to assume, Top Flight could end up winning that matchup. Top Flight could end up going on to face FTR or Infantry in the second round. But yeah, I'm a bit surprised by some omissions here. I'm surprised that Blackpool Combat Club's not in the tournament. I was hoping to see, like, I know they had to replace Workhorsemen because of injury.
Yeah. Anthony Henry.
Unfortunate. Well wishes to Anthony Henry. Hopefully he gets well soon. But there's other tag teams that are there that are not in this tournament, and it's kind of confusing to me that they're not there.
Like, there still must be something up with Phoenix as to why the Lucha Bros aren't here. Like, how could the Lucha Bros not be a part of it?
No Lucha Bros, no LFI. It's just some of
David said Shane Taylor Promotions. I think Lee and Shane Taylor have been establishing themselves as a good team. They could have been here too.
Yeah, it's just it's a confusing mix of individuals. But and of course you've got Undisputed Kingdom in here in a slot, and they're the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. So, that's why I'm like, I can't say it's a failure just yet. But
No,
it is a confusing mix of talent, and the matchups are a bit kind of weird. Like, why? I don't know.
it is AEW. It is AEW tag teams. These are some talented tag teams, so we know the matches are gonna hit. It's just like the brackets so far are like,
yeah,
interesting.
And I mean, Dynasty's coming up quicker than we expect, so
It is.
I also kind of expect it to be a bigger bracket.
That's what I thought. I thought it was maybe gonna stretch a little bit farther.
Yeah, and so some of the teams that I wanted to see here are not here. I have to assume the reason Blackpool Combat Club is not here is because there's some plans in store for young John Moxley. John, of course, is facing Naito in a few weeks at Windy City Riot. That leads me to believe that there's probably more on the docket for Moxley with Japan. Maybe there's more going on with the CMLL stuff. I don't know. But it is an odd choice. It is an odd choice to have him get a definitive win.
And where's Yuta at? He could have been in here with Claudio.
Yuta's injured.
He's hurt?
Yeah.
Wonder why I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, Yuta's injured. But it's an odd choice because Blackpool Combat Club got a definitive win against FDR at the pay-per-view. So you have to assume.
Why did they do that?
So you have to assume, like, coming out of that, we talked about it on here. I talked about it on a post show. Right after that match, I was like, all right, they got to be favorites to win this tournament, or at least come and make a splash in this tournament. And they're not even in it. It's an odd choice.
Oh, I forgot about that. They beat FTR at the pay-per-view. And then you were like, There's pretty strong showing for them in this tournament. Yo, that's crazy. Very interesting choices that happened here. Yeah, I'd have to assume that Moxley's gonna have some New Japan things going into that really big match for the IWGP Championship. So that's a reason not to have him in there. But yeah, I guess I just expected it to be a little bit more extensive, have some tag teams featured, maybe some surprise tag teams. And it's just like pretty like, here's our AEW tag team, it's on the line, which I know it's going to be great because we talk about how great of a division they can be and they are. But it's interesting.
It is.
Not mad at it.
People are already saying that this is looking like it's going to lead to FDR versus the Young Bucks 4 at Dynasty. Right. I mean, that makes sense for a prediction. I personally would like to see Bucks versus Top Flight instead. I would like to see Top Flight go all the way to the finals. I don't know if that means Top Flight win. I have to assume that Young Bucks are heavily favored here. But we could go either way. I wouldn't be mad at the FDR rematch, but I think getting Top Flight in a big match on that card, I think that's kind of what needs to happen, especially if you're kind of building the company on this new era coming into 2024. Push some new wrestlers, push some new faces. So I would like to see Top Flight make it all the way to the finals.
But I feel like, Young Bucks being tag team champions with this insane roster kind of fits at this point. You know what I mean? Like what AEW is going into and representing them being the tag team champions next to a potential Continental champion Okada is like, that's going to look like something.
Yeah, I agree. But that's why I also was kind of surprised with the way the matchup landed, because I assumed that we were going to get a private party Top Flight rematch, if anything, in this tournament.
Same.
And we're not. So
don't know. I mean, we also don't know. Like these matches could go a different way. Like we could get those matches.
So
we could
you think private parties winning in the first round?
I've seen crazier things, like private party winning in the first round years and years ago in AEW.
I don't think it's happening.
Story doesn't, like exactly like you were saying, them going in, being nice guys, getting the wool pull over their eyes essentially in the first match, and then this one is they cheat their way up to the top. How you feel if there's Young Buck shenanigans all the way up this tournament when we're getting shenanigans in another tournament we're going to talk about very soon here on this show?
I mean, I think Young Bucks are going to win this tournament. I've been kind of thinking that anyway. But just the layout of this tournament leads me further to believe the Bucks are probably going to win.
Right. Yeah, of course, I'm Young Bucks, young boys, so I'm not mad about it at all. I think the matches are going to be great and everybody will be fine at the end of it. Tournaments have shown in AEW that they're a great part of the program, so let's just see it play out.
Yeah, I mean, tournament starts, of course, tonight on Collision. Finals will take place at Dynasty on Sunday, April 21st in St. Louis. We've also got Shibata taking on Bryan Danielson tonight on Collision. Should be a hot show.
What? They're just like, they just drop an announcement on Twitter and it's just like, here's the craziest match you've ever seen in your whole life. See you Saturday. And we're just like, what? Yesterday we're all like, Shibata versus Bryan Danielson. What are you saying to us? This is a match that for years and years, like a lot of these matches we never thought would happen, but these are two wrestlers that were like, we're done here. We're never going to be pro wrestlers ever again. And now they're going to face off in an epic battle tonight. Legit can't wait for Collision. Let's get into a couple of more super chats. Tamir Scott says, went to big business. The show was worth the 5-hour drive from Philly. So happy Mercedes is back. Love you guys. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Tamir. Appreciate that.
Tamir Scott from Philly. Are you any relationship to Jill Scott from Philly?
Scott's from Philly. Let us know. Jilly from Philly. Tell her I love her if you do. Laurent Forrest said, gentlemen, it's been too long since I got to listen live. Looking forward to a great show. Also, Mercedes is all elite. Where do you think her impact will be felt first? Thanks, Laurent. Appreciate that.
I think we saw a lot of it straight away.
We saw it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it more, but I think her impact was very immediate.
Like, how many women's main events have we had on Dynamite? And immediately here goes one. You know what I mean? Like, it's different. We saw it already, But yeah, we're gonna get into it. Shockhip29 says the people talking about how Mercedes isn't a star and are the same people riding Punk like a Bronco since he made his return to WWE after saying the same about his AEW run.
Yeah, I'm seeing some very evident similarities to the way that Punk's debut was covered and the way that Mercedes' debut was covered. It's bizarre, but not that much. Not surprising. Not surprising at all.
Not surprising at all. And I'm glad that they're treating Mercedes like that too. Like, she is a big star. She does deserve to be talked about on this level that she is. Chris Alston says 2024 in wrestling, Rock was cooking last night and Mercedes Moné is all elite. What a time to be a fan. What can I say except you're welcome? Dwayne killed that though. Like,
Listen,
what can I say except you're welcome? I was out of here.
listen, man. One of the greatest to ever do it, man. Y'all had Rock kind of fucked up. Y'all was talking a little crazy on the guy. Y'all was trying to talk about him being washed. Y'all talking about, can he still do this? Listen, this guy is giving us weeks and weeks of entertainment at this point, both online, on our televisions, coming out there and singing for the Memphis crowd. Really, really great stuff. John Morant caught a stray, which was also very funny. John Morant responded to it. It seemed like he took it in stride, but nah. Rock has been in his bag since the kickoff show, man.
Look, Phil, I've seen this guy switch fans online and in the arenas in real time from I can't believe this guy came and stole the spotlight too. We want this guy to be the WWE champion right now. He's the greatest thing we ever seen. We don't care about Cody. We don't care about Seth. We don't care about Roman. We care about The Rock. Like, that's how dynamic of a performer this guy is, giving up these Twitter promos every time before the show and then coming on the show and destroying it. It's like, no, The Rock's heard everybody talking and said, watch this shit.
Yeah, he could have easily showed up last night and just did the sing song stuff and then got out the ring. He gave you guys a song and then proceeded to still cut a great promo right afterwards. I don't know, the guy's been on fire.
Yeah.
It's crazy because his star power, like when you look at this guy, it's like, man,
It's
of a rare breed, man. I feel like it's
Different.
kind of in that vein of seeing that guy in the modern era. I don't know if you've seen any of this TikTok stuff of people saying like, we're done with the 90s, we're done with 90s basketball, and I'm just like, y'all weren't there, man.
Y'all weren't there.
Y'all weren't there. Y'all didn't see the aura on some of these guys, and I feel the same thing with Rock. Like, him in present day with that aura, like, everybody looks lesser than because that guy is just of a different stature, man.
The most electrifying man, Phil, like, that's real. Like, when you see him, it's like exactly like you're saying, like that aura, like he feels different, like he looks different, like it's 1998 all over again, like in the best way. Like, he's The Rock, and when everybody else's promos are less than, like, it's glaring that this guy is The Rock.
It's kind of been proving my point that I've been saying for a long time about Roman not coming every week. And when you got a guy that is now retired and he's coming every week and setting it on fire, man. And
they're coming out with stats that The Rock's been on more than Roman has in 2024.
And I've seen the tactic too. I've seen where they had the thing where sports teams were putting out those Roman tweets and saying, we acknowledge Roman. Roman's theme music was played at the Lakers game the other night. I've seen the tactics. I've seen what we're doing. But this guy ain't been on TV, man. And it's just like, if Rock, who is been retired, it was in his 50s, can come and be on TV, then Roman can be on TV. Like,
this is crazy, Phil.
At the biggest time of the year when you're building to WrestleMania, and he's still not on TV on a weekly basis. Like, what are we doing, bro? Like
you're the part-time star of the company. Like, Rock's less than part-time star of the company, and he's still showing up every week to promote this show.
Bro, he's been on TV every week this month, hasn't he? He hasn't missed a SmackDown this month.
And even if he wasn't on every program, he's still doing the Twitter programs. He's still doing way more than Roman to promote. Like, Roman, sure, you could be at home. Rock's still doing promos at home and in the arenas. Like, it looks crazy when he's doing that. And it's like, well, what's Well, why is Roman the guy? And then the story that came out this week that Rock's about to be gone, I'm like, maybe he's just getting his bars off really quick so we can have this to munch on till he's gone.
Maybe, but it just looks crazy when the main champion of the company is just not there as much. And like you said, it's not just that Rock is there every week. He's also cutting the online promos. He's also like on other shows promoting.
Yeah.
He's been on Fallon. He was at the Oscars. He's been everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Where is our WWE champion?
He's everywhere, and bro can't even show up to SmackDown.
Yo. And that's what I'm saying. Meanwhile, we had this whole debate. I've seen the stuff people said about Rollins. Rollins has still been at every event promoting WrestleMania. This guy came back from that injury and wrestled a house show immediately.
Yeah.
Where is Roman? I don't understand.
That means this is like official. We said it 1,000 times. He's got to give that belt up at WrestleMania, right?
If you're not of the opinion that it's time, buddy, you are delusional at this point. Right. It's time. It's time, man.
If you see all this and you're still like, nah, Roman's got to get it. Like, I don't know what show you're watching. I don't know what's going on.
It's time, man. I want to champion this present, man. It's been time, man. It's been over a year of this. Enough.
You got The Rock getting his guitar. Like, bro, what are you doing?
It's crazy.
This is supposed to be your show, not The Rock show. What are you doing here?
And I feel like a lot of people online don't want to say it. A lot of people, because a lot of people really like Roman, but it's time, man. It's
like from him standing in the ring with The Rock looking like a gym teacher with his gear, like not showing up. The Rock absolutely cooking every moment that he's had. It's like, maybe this is catalyst for the Roman turn, and maybe this is catalyst to help him. But for right now, it's like, it's looking crazy, big bro.
Yeah, it just feels like we're in fast forward to WrestleMania mode.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Right. For him specifically, which is crazy.
For a lot of this build, to be honest with you, because I just think it's crazy that we're still at the point where we know what the tag match is. Yeah. But The Rock is still taking up a lot of time on SmackDown. You still are now trying to have to circle back and build to the world title matches because you haven't been spending the last few weeks building to those.
There's another match on the next night, right?
and then you've got all of this other stuff like that. You got all of these other wrestlers that don't have a path to WrestleMania. You've got all these people that are not on TV. Like I think the fact that Bianca wasn't on last night at all was very weird. Like,
that's weird. We're 3 weeks out, they said.
And she's been on all of the promotional material. She was at the kickoff show. You made the point to not have Io or Bayley at the kickoff show, but you had Bianca there, and she still doesn't have a match.
That's weird. That's hella weird. Yeah, I don't understand what's going on there.
And I was told straight away she's going to be in a tag title match. Fuck out of here. Like, don't put her on this stage by herself and then throw her in a tag match because you don't have plans for it. That's
Who's
lazy.
Who's supposed to be her partner?
Swag. It feels like they're trying to build to Naomi and possibly Bianca against Damage Control at WrestleMania. First of all, I just think she should be done with Damage Control. She's been feuding with Damage Control since 2022. I mean, she's beat them at 2 Survivor Series in a row.
Mm-hmm.
She's beat almost every member of this faction. Why are we still possibly going back to this feud with Damage Control? Move on. Do a 1-on-1 match with her. Like, I don't know.
But Phil, like I'm saying, it's crunch time. How do you get her to a singles match in 3 weeks?
I don't think it's that hard. The story, like I've been saying for the last few weeks, the story is the streak. All it is, hey man, I have an undefeated streak at WrestleMania. I don't have an opponent. Who's going to step to the challenge? That ain't that hard.
This build has been kind of unfortunate. I hate that, like, we're in WrestleMania season, so we're going to focus on The Rock and then, like, where's Tiffany Stratton? Was she on the show last night? Like, we were building, like, some good momentum.
Still no Jade.
Still no Jade. We're building good momentum to a lot of these women's wrestlers specifically, and they're just getting scraps at this point.
Yeah, we'll revisit this if it actually does turn out to be the tag match. But I'm just telling you right now, I feel like that's incredibly lazy.
It is pretty lazy. Especially because we know how you guys feel about those championships, dude. Like, no
Listen,
matter how you tell me the story to get there, I know how you feel about these women's
don't
tag belts.
don't tell me that we want these tag belts to be on a higher pedestal, so put bigger stars in the match, and then tell me also, well, it's probably going to be Bianca and Naomi or Jade and Naomi taking on Kabuki Warriors. Why did this sound familiar? I don't know, because that's what Naomi was doing before she left the company.
I was like, this does sound familiar.
Uh,
Right back into the same spot, Phil.
Went away, was a world champion. She comes back, and the best you can do with her is put her back in a tag team. We go lie and say that's not lazy. It's extremely lazy.
That's so lazy, insanely lazy. And just like I said, those tag belts, this story, I just hate it. I want more for Bianca, I want more for Jade, and I want more for Naomi, and I don't want more for them just putting them all together in one match. Like,
I
not how this works.
I don't want this to turn into the tag match, and then because you've made the point of making this a tag match, then you have to take the belt off of the Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah,
and I just don't want anything to do with this. I don't want Bianca to be still
because you got
wrestling Damage
Bianca
Control.
and Naomi on the other side. Like, oh, we have
Yeah.
to make them champions now because it's the two of them. Yeah, no, we can't get to that point. Makeshift champions, and that's kind of going along with the AEW tag thing. Was like, I hate the makeshift tag thing. Like, I'll never, ever, ever like it because you already got a bunch of great tag teams. Why are you putting two singles wrestlers together? It just never makes sense to me. And so this is kind of the same thing here. If you guys are putting Bianca and Naomi, I'd rather you see them somehow into a match against each other if that's what we're doing. Because like,
do something, man.
You know what I mean? Like, let's do something that's challenging here, not just like, oh, they'll be in a tag team together.
Do something fresh. I mean, you rarely do non-title feuds with the women at WrestleMania. You got a great opportunity to do one with Bianca. Get to it. You've had a whole month to book this. You can't tell me, all right, well, Charlotte got injured. Charlotte been going for months, man. Y'all had plenty of time to pivot to something else.
Yeah, she been gone since before Royal Rumble, right?
Yes.
She's like, we should have been figured something else out at this point.
Yeah, I just it just all dawned on me watching last night. I was like, they're in Memphis,
Tennessee.
Bianca's from Tennessee. You're not going to do anything with Bianca on this show. You've got all these things to promote with her. Like you just put out the reality show. Like I said, she was front and center on all of the promotional material. What are we doing?
And shout out to the homie. This is shout out to the homie Corey Graves. Is a super funny way to transition into something. I was watching SmackDown last night and they kept doing the whoop that trick chant, and people on the internet, WWE social medias are like, oh, Trick Williams, and Wade Barrett on the show's like, oh, there's a lot of Trick Williams chants tonight. And Corey Graves is like, or if you're a Memphis Grizzlies fan or like from Memphis, like,
it's a big Memphis thing.
It's a Memphis thing. I don't know. I don't like Trick is out here. He's in these streets, like he's making some noise. But whoop that trick is a old at this point.
Hustle and Flow, 3-6 Mafia is all tied to Memphis. That's why.
Hustle and Flow. They got an Oscar.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Don't take all of our culture. I mean, you could have you guys are. I don't want to talk about.
Yeah. Hey man, which of course, shout out to Terrence Howard on 3-6 Mafia getting their Oscar. Shout out to Ryan Gosling smoking it out there, doing the Just Ken on Oscar stage. Shout out to Michael Keaton for doing a very impromptu and funny moment with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. Very much made my night, him doing the Bring It On when they were talking their shit on stage. Really, really funny, man.
Michael Keaton still got it. I hate You Still Got a Chance, but if I saw Michael Keaton, I would give him You Still Got a Chance.
That was great. Just the little smirk he gave them, like, nah. Come on.
That's our forever Batman, y'all. We're of a generation of Michael Keaton Batman. A couple more super chats before we move forward. Y'all are nice today. Van Twinblay said, we use Nord to switch our locations to UK and get the AEW pass and watch commercial free because showing us ads is the fastest way to piss people off. See, Van Twinblay got it figured out. You get the VPN, you get the switch, no commercials, all that. I want to get to that because this week with the picture in picture this week for some reason was really pissing me off. It's coming in at really good moments. I'm like, this picture in picture, I'm gonna destroy it. I have to start to get the fight feed or something. But yeah, this week it was driving me crazy. Usually I'm like, it's chill. But for some reason this week I was like, yo, what's going on here?
Yeah, I can't stand picture in picture.
It just it's a great feature because we get to still see the action, but it's like I don't want to see it. Leonard Aarons III said, if the tourney gives us a series of matches that reinvigorates the tag division, can we really call it a failure? Hoping Big Bill and Ricky win it all. Leonard Aarons brings up a great point at the first half. The second half, I don't know about all
that. No, I think there's a good chance that this could still reinvigorate the tag division. I don't know about Big Bill and Ricky winning.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
I hear you.
I hear you. But they could though. But no, that was one of them. Like, I don't even actually understand why these guys are in the tournament. Like, we need to get Ricky back to being a single star. Both of these guys, I'd actually like to see Big Bill and as a single star too. So I don't understand, but you know, they're the former tag champs. Mets fan for life says, I just want to stop in and say Shane Taylor showed up and showed out. I'm guessing against Bryan Danielson last week on Collision.
He did. He cooked.
Also, Reg, who makes you laugh more, Phil or Denise? Like, why are you gonna put me on the spot like that? This is like crazy. Phil and Denise, very different laughs for sure. Like, sometimes Phil laughs are, we're not supposed to be talking about this laughs, which hit very different than Denise's like, I'm teaching her things laugh. It's just different things. They fill different voids for sure.
No, when I put out the birthday thing last week, and I thought about how many times that it's become a thing on this podcast of us trying to wait until we're talking about something very serious, and then one of us will try as hard as possible to try and make the other person break. And there's been many times where we've done that, and I'm just like, yeah, you gotta stop it, man. You gotta knock it off.
Sometimes I'm like, the pod's over, and I'm like, man, we definitely probably shouldn't have been laughing at that. But it's just like, it just happens.
It was one week. I was like, yeah, I got him.
I got him. This week I've been laughing at something that week. Oh man, it's gonna be really fun in Philly. I got my ticket to Philly on my birthday. WrestleMania festivities are going down. If you haven't purchased for the culture ticket, get you a first, second, or third row. I don't think they have sold out yet. General admission is free for that. First come, first serve. Hopefully it's going to be a whole bunch of us out there. Phil and I are going to be outside. Phil is going to be into some media things, some festivities. We're going to be outside, but yeah, we're going to be at Wale Mania, of course, also one of our favorite events of the year. We've had some fun and interesting and wild moments at Wale Mania. So wonder what this year will bring.
Might be pulling up the Bloodsport to see some WWE wrestlers.
Yo. What happened here? Yeah. So yesterday, Fightful's like, hey, some WWE wrestlers might be involved in Bloodsport. And we're all like, what? What are you talking about? And then some people started putting it together. Oh, it's Josh Barnett, like Shayna Baszler. They have these connections. First thing at the gate, Shayna Baszler is going to be a part of Bloodsport this year at the Collective. And that is almost probably the most perfect fit if you're going to have a WWE superstar a part of this. Some people started throwing their names into the hat immediately. Masha Slamovich said something, and I was like, oh, let's go. Let's do that.
Come on. I love Shayna, and I think that she's very much underutilized there. And so
totally.
Seeing her get like a spot on Bloodsport where she could wrestle somebody like Masha, she said she wanted the Minoru Suzuki match as well. There's so many possibilities there. I think that's dope for her.
They might do Shayna and Suzuki, bro.
That'd be crazy.
Oh my god. So yeah, we might schedules like we're talking about it this week. Veda Scott was on Indeed. Shout out to Veda for being on Indeed. We're talking about their schedule for WrestleMania and just the schedule for that week. And I was like, there's no time. Like, I don't even know. Like the Bloodsport, I think that's Thursday. We all get in on Thursday. I'm like, I don't even know.
I think it's 4 on Thursday or something like that.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know nothing about nothing. So we'll see. Leonard Ayers III also says, unless the BCC were purposely left out by the EVPs and they're immediately confronted by them after the finals conclude.
Yeah, I'm sure they could come up with a storied reason. It just was wild to see that graphic and they were not on there.
Yeah, super wild. Yeah, I think it's probably more the John Moxley and New Japan things, I would think.
Yeah.
Shot 29 said, I think the Bucks are winning, but could see the Infantry being the Cinderella team that gets screwed finals, or Starks and Big Bill going babyface against Bucks.
Yeah, I think Infantry is going to have a pretty good run in the tournament, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I think they're going to get the big win tonight, and that's going to be a good start. Chuck J with the wild super chat, I think. Sup, homies, y'all think the NXT box punching gonna catch on? LMFAO. Now, Phil, I'm not the most versed in NXT activities, but box punch.
Oh, he's talking about the women's match. He's talking about the finish to the Gigi Dolan match.
What happened?
There was a low blow that led to like a double DQ finish. It was very
A low blow in a women's match.
I don't know what I was watching. I saw it and I just was like, all right, man. I don't watch NXT, but I saw the clip and I said,
I don't know what I was watching. It's hella funny.
I saw the clip of it and I said, okay. Then Gigi like tweeted about it and it was I don't know. Some wild happenings over there. Trick and Lash were everywhere on the timeline as well.
Yeah, well, what's up with that?
Nah, it immediately reminded me of Fantasia coming on stage at the BET Awards, making out with Jamie Foxx and doing the do what it do. And I was just like, all right. Like so soon as
that's how I felt too. I was like, all right, okay.
Yeah, as soon as I saw the clip, I was like, Fantasia. Hey, but man, hey, shout out to them. Seems like they are letting people know that we're together. If that's what it is, cool. I thought it was funny that people were bringing up that Denise interview out of nowhere where they're in the background. And I was like, oh, okay, she kind of like broke the news. Y'all just weren't paying attention.
Denise accidentally exposed this relationship by having an interview. Shout out to Denise being a part of this. Cody Marks says Cody will be booed and cheered 50-50 in Philly. I can see it at this point. Like 3 weeks ago, I would have been like, no way. But now I'm like, The Rock then turned some people.
Yeah, this was the first time he's done the crying promo. And, you know, usually it's endearing. We've seen Cody do it a bunch in AEW. We've seen him do it a few times with WWE. But Rock immediately made him look like a loser. And I didn't feel that way. I don't feel like Cody's a loser, but just him coming out immediately and
The Rock could do that though.
Putting the clip side by side and saying, "Man, this is how you respond. You came out and slapped me. Your balls finally dropped. You finally came up and addressed me like a man. And this is what I see you doing the next night on Raw." And I was like, "Dang, when you put it like that,
when you put it on the Titantron like that, you're like, oh shit."
And he did it 2 times. He did it on TV and he did it on the internet. I was like, wow. So
see, that's the thing. When the diarrhea Dwayne thing happened with Seth, I was like, the issue is like, you guys can't, even Roman, I'm like, none of you guys can out pizza in the Hut is The Rock. The Rock is the Hut. You can never out pizza the Hut. You can't be in the same ballpark. You can't be in the same league. You have to go like the most extreme on the opposite to try to beat this guy, because this guy is king. And the way that he got that Cody, like the way that he breaks it down, and you're like, damn, maybe you're right. If a wrestler heel could get you to say maybe you're right, like something is happening.
I was watching Rock last night, and I said, I figured you out, man. I figured the genius of the Rock. Rock is totally those battle rappers that will have a line that's not that great, but he'd be like, hold on, and he'll repeat it a few times, and he knows it's not that great. But the more he repeats it, the more the crowd's like, well, hold on a minute. Like, like he might have been onto something. Like, and I've seen him do this a few times. He did it with the Cody Crybabies thing.
Right.
He keeps repeating it. Like, it wasn't that great the first time he said it, but the more and more people he says it, now he's getting people chanting it. Now he's getting it over. He's done it a few times. That's just what he does.
The first time he said it, it was cringe, Phil. We were all like, I don't know if that one's going to work. Now he's going to have T-shirts. Like, they're about to be chanting that, bro. It worked. You're exactly right. He's that battle rapper that's like, I don't think y'all heard it, though. Let me say it again. Like, no, we heard it. He's like, no,
slow it down.
Right?
I just dissed you.
I know you heard it, but let me tell you again. The Rock is funny, bro.
Slow it down.
It's just crazy. Like, we all knew, like, that he could do this. We are part of the game. We know the Rock's history. We've seen all the promos. We've seen all the things. But like in the new era of seeing like how things function, how the shows move, how wrestlers talk, how the game is, like he's just so different. Like even just the Twitter promos, like the way that he gets people interest, like they're enthralled in these promos. Everybody's making memes immediately. Like it's different than like a wrestler put out a promo today. Man. It's so different. He's on a different level than everyone.
He's just so different. And he still manages to do all this stuff and still manages to look cool, man. Come on, man. One of the greatest.
He might look cool. He might be cooler now, I think. Is like I get what? You mean more money and more everything, but like he's fly as hell. Now, like he was fly in 98. Now like, he's like, damn. The Rock.
One of the greatest to ever do it, bro.
People are happy to be cooked by him. Like they want, like, please say something about me.
Bro. Came out with the Hollywood Rock theme last night as well, man.
Yeah.
Telling you, this guy, he's been in his bag. He's been single-handedly, I feel like, making me more and more excited about WrestleMania.
That's wild. And there was a point where we thought he wasn't going to be on the show. And then there was a point we thought he was hijacking the show and was going to wrestle Roman himself. And then there was a point where we were like, why is The Rock here? Now it's like, no, we want Rock on both nights main event, and I want him to beat Roman on the thing. Who do you think has fallen the worst out of Roman, Seth, and Cody in this moment with The Rock? And is definitely Cody, right?
Wait,
but maybe not, because I think people want the Cody and Rock match more than they want the Cody and Roman match, is what I'm trying to say.
What do you mean? Who looks the worst in these segments with him?
No, not who looks the worst, but who's fallen the worst in on the totem pole of where they existed. I think it's probably Roman with me saying it now, because like what the Rock is doing is highlighting that the faults of everyone else. Like we came into saying that Roman needs to be more present, and people are seeing that with The Rock coming in and cooking that Roman should be more present. I think it's like who's fallen lower on where the expectations going into this match, because it was like this big buildup of like we want Roman versus Cody, but now it's like we kind of want Rock versus Cody, right?
Yeah, I feel like this has probably hurt. This has all hurt Roman more than anybody.
Right?
I feel like Roman is the least interesting character of the four at this point. And I mean, I'm tempted to say Seth, but I would argue that Seth has had.
I don't think he's been hurt by this, though, is the thing.
I think he's been hurt in some ways as well. I think like the three of them, he looks like a lesser than star next to Rock. All of those guys are overshadowed by him in some way. But I would argue,
different for me now, because it's like all three of them are together. It's not just one singular guy. It feels like all three of them are kind of dealing with it.
But I would argue that Seth has had the most character development out of all of this. I think that in terms of like what this has done for him character-wise, it's been great. But yeah, I think Roman has taken the biggest hit in terms of like what we thought he was coming into this feud and where we are now. And I know that's part of the story. You're supposed to look at it like Rock is overshadowing him. He's taking a spotlight, and that's going to eventually lead to them butting heads. But I think with him not being there, and sometimes when he's standing in the ring, just standing next to him, it's like, you're a champion, though. Like, you're a champion, though, man. Like,
it just kind of feels like when you you grow up and your dad's like the greatest thing of all time, and then like one day you see your dad get beat up, and you're like, damn, like maybe the dad isn't how I think he is. That's like what Roman feels like. It's like Roman told us all this stuff, told us he was the greatest, told us he was the head of the table, and then he stood next to The Rock, and we were like, I don't know, big dog. You're not The Rock. Like, you're not anything even close to The Rock. Are everything that you've been telling us lies? Like, is he a baby face off this? Because I'm also like, man, you was lying to us this whole time.
I know, man. I just I feel like we've got to get more stuff with just Cody and Roman, because I mean, we haven't really seen them.
Oh, they're doing the thing next week at least.
I know, but it's just we haven't really seen just them in the ring
Right.
since the match has been changed.
Really?
Like, when you really think of it, since the
Yeah.
match got changed back at the kickoff show, there hasn't been anything that just focused on Roman and Cody. It's always been bloodline stuff with Rock or building the tag match. And I think just spending so much time building a tag match, it's been interesting, it's been entertaining, but I think in some ways it's taken a little bit away from both world title matches. Now, I think it'll work out in the end, because I do think it accentuates the Universal Championship match more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was sitting watching that Drew and Seth segment on Raw, and I was just like, man, nobody is talking about this match.
I know. It's unfortunate.
And I bet it's gonna be a great match too.
Yeah, of course. I think we know Seth and Drew. Drew has something to prove. Always, it's gonna be a big moment. We all know about him winning in the pandemic era, so like this, everything kind of surrounding this is gonna be a big moment. But yeah, it does feel like everybody at the end is falling to the wayside of The Rock. It's a gift and a curse, because it's like, dude, we got The Rock and he's The Rock 100%. But like, all I could think about is The Rock. Like, nobody, all I'm like, The Rock's just going to come and cook and blah, blah, blah. I don't care about nothing else. And like, that's a good thing, because it's the 40th anniversary of WrestleMania, kind of what WWE represents these days. But like, you built so many stories and matches that like, they're all going to execute. But like, this going into it, there could be more. Like, SmackDown is just The Rock show. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, because it's a good problem to have in some ways, but in other ways, it's kind of like, yeah, this was all supposed to be leading to this big final showdown with Roman and Cody. Roman doesn't even feel like the final boss anymore. Rock is calling himself the final boss, and he feels like the believable final boss in all of this.
He does.
And so, yeah, I mean, I'm still into it. I'm still entertained. I still am invested in Cody winning the belt, but I do feel like we've got to spend some more time actually building towards those two world title matches.
Right.
I mean, they started doing it this week, but
right.
Roman wasn't there.
The story of the story. Shay Monster says, for Anywhere's the story, people, Shibata got kicked in the junk by Yuta, so the absentee dad needs to pay for the little shit's behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's some story behind it. There's a whole bunch of story behind it. Cody Marks also says, Memphis booed when The Rock said Cody's name.
Well, if I know my Cody lore, isn't he not well liked in Memphis?
And that's like Rock was kind of like trying to pseudo sell it as one of his homes.
Yeah, I felt like that was intentional. I do think Cody's going to get booed more and more by some people that are Rock fans and Roman fans, but I think it's going to be a lot more split once we get to WrestleMania.
Yeah, in Philly it'll be a lot more definitive for sure. Cody Marks also says Roman title reign sells itself, similar to Taker. Yeah,
I've said many times at this point that I'm bored with this title run.
Right.
So
now it's like we just want to see it because we want Cody to win, not like we want to see it because we want to see Roman defend.
Yeah.
Will Chisholm says, I love how Phil is not falling for the Roman stuff with the sports team. I'm ready for Rock versus Cody at SummerSlam because that's the match you're building to. Now I want to see Rock versus Mama Rhodes. Yeah, no, Cody got to get his lick back. He got to fight back.
Yeah, I don't know where we're going. I don't know if I believe, like, they're trying to report that this may be Rock's last match. I don't know if I believe that. There's too much money on the table now for the Rock and Roman match. You could do other stuff out of this. I don't know if I believe that.
They're trying to say the tag match is going to be his last match?
That's the report that came out this week.
I can't.
I don't believe that.
The way that he's been cooking, Phil. I mean, I potentially, but I just can't. But like, I can't. Like you can't put this much effort into like that one match. And yeah, the stories coming out of it make even more sense than the match. So I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, I saw all the tactics. I was like, nah, I'm not. You're
The
not
people
falling for
trying to
this.
sell me on Roman's a household name. I'm like, I can't believe that. I interact with
Well,
way too many people that don't know who the fuck he is.
I think he is a household name. I just think it's levels to it. And I mean,
There's levels to it. It's like
there,
which
there,
household?
there's where The Rock is as a household name, and that's where he is as a household name. I do think that he is more recognizable outside of wrestling circles than most guys.
That's true, but like 100% of the women that I tell I'm into wrestling, they don't know who he is. 100% of them. So like,
Yeah, I mean it's anecdotal. I mean, I've seen random people like in like regular settings with like bloodline hats on. So
depends on what part of the game it is.
yeah.
Julian Francisco says Roman is the most uninteresting champion since the Miz transitional reign, and
Wow.
he's still probably going to retain. Sucks. But it's also kind of funny. If Roman retains, somebody needs to go to jail.
I don't know if I would say all of that it's as bad as that Miz run, but I've been pretty much off on the Roman run for quite some time now. I've been pretty bored with it for a while, and I just don't see how you can possibly justify keeping the belt on him. I think if he wins at WrestleMania, you're gonna run the risk of alienating a lot of fans.
And they got so much goodwill with their fans, they can't afford that at
Yeah,
this
and you could
point.
you could see it kind of happening when it turned into the Rock and Roman match.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a mistake. I think it's a huge mistake to keep that belt on Roman.
Especially since they like got him back. You turned it around, you fixed it. Like you gotta finish it. You gotta finish the
You got
story, my
you got to
people.
stick to landing, buddy. It's
You
time.
gotta stick to landing. If you don't, like, what was the point of undoing that? You should have just went with the Roman and Rock match at this point.
Yeah, you got to stick to landing at this point.
Bragov says, "Happy Grapsody, happy for Mercedes."
Definitely.
Steph the writer says Jade and Bianca had that great moment at the Rumble, and they're just gonna waste it. Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, I just think that they've wasted all of the buzz that Jade had out of the Royal Rumble at this point because they're not really doing anything. I can't believe right after that we're still doing the where's she gonna sign stuff. I was like, what are we doing? Why are we still
Why are we
doing
still
this?
doing this?
Why are we still doing the teasers? Put her in some matches. Like, get her on TV. What's
But
happening
where's
here?
she gonna sign though, Phil? She needs a pin.
I just don't understand, man.
Eloquent, shout out to our homie Eloquent says, y'all going to the West Side Gun WrestleMania show? I want to.
It's a lot that Friday, because I believe it's that Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for the culture is that Friday. Supercard of Honor. It's a lot.
Ring of
I don't know.
Honor.
Yeah.
It's I guess there's a chance to maybe coordinate Ring of Honor, then the West Side Gun show, then for the culture, but with like how Ring of Honor pressers and shit run, probably not.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that.
From Ring of Honor to fucking for the culture. But I want to. Peace, Eloquence. Van Twinblay said, and I quote from Gigi's tweet, at least I'll have this memory of the time I turned your roast beef into a smash burger. Good night.
I saw this tweet. I saw the quote that you're talking about. That's
an
definitely a thing.
That's an insane tweet, my brother. That's crazy. Roast beef into a smash burger is insane.
Listen, man.
That's what we doing. What is Shawn Michaels doing over there, Phil?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like, you thinking when they get to the CW, it's going to increase or decrease?
It feels like they're already ready to go to CW. It had all the makings of a CW show.
Every time I see it, I'm like, this is such a CW show.
Telling you,
CW wrestling show is hilarious.
WWE Undressed.
WWE Undressed. The youngest don't know about Undressed, man.
That's exactly what it reminds me of.
It
MTV
does.
Undressed.
It looks like it. The dialogue is like
the acting, all of it. It's like MTV Undressed.
Shawn Michaels, you're a funny dude. Smiley BWR says, afternoon, boys. Hope y'all are doing well. I'm completely over The Rock, Cody, and Roman. I am bored. Not bringing out Bianca in Tennessee. What they doing? Mercedes is a star. Happy belated birthday, Reggie. Thank you, Tracy, and happy belated birthday to you. It's a birthday of a bunch of me and my friends in March. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody. You're cool. I hope you liked it. And yeah, Bianca not in Tennessee is really weird.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even just it's not in Tennessee. It's just I just keep thinking like we've got what like 22 days or so until WrestleMania, and
Soon.
she still doesn't have a match. They haven't started booking anything. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, soon. And then Steph the writer says Cody, Rock, Seth, Solo, Usos, Heyman, and Roman feels less interesting than everyone in the program.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I don't know. You got to start building the rest of this card, man.
Yeah. It's so, again, it's so soon. Anytime they say a number, I'm like, you know how fast that's going to get here? And there's still like a bunch of shows to build.
We got a lot this week. We it seemed like they realized that, and so they started spitting out a lot of match announcements within like the last 24 hours. But still, it's just like, where are we going with this?
Get to it. But they're probably of the thing of like, it's sold out already. Like, y'all are going to be there. It don't matter. Like, y'all are going to eat whatever we give to y'all. And they are. And then our last super chat for now, Aaron Busby says, Rock is so over that he made Roman become the Otis of the group. Seriously. Wow. I mean, I think it's not even the Rock's fault. It's Roman's fault. If Roman would be there the whole time standing next to him, we wouldn't feel like this.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does feel like David Ruffin in the bloodline right now.
But he's going to get his big comeuppance. Like, it's still all about him. Like, both of the main events are still about Roman, you know?
Yeah, I definitely think after he loses at WrestleMania, if he loses, he should take some time off.
Yeah, agreed.
Give people some time to miss him, I think. Which sounds crazy, but still, you know what I mean.
I'm like, more time off? He's taking time off now. Yeah, that's all of our super chat for now. Appreciate y'all. Y'all are dope.
We got some humper chats as well. Of course, if you want to send us your humper chats, humperchat.com/Fightful. Got one from Black Phoenix Brand. He says, a few notes from SmackDown Live. 0 merch for Bianca, 0 merch for Roman. They did have the J shirt, plenty of Rock merch, obviously. Tons of Lapsed fans there to see The Rock. Only other things people cared about were LA Knight and Orton. Buddy, I keep being surprised by how over LA Knight continues to be, in spite of the way that they've used this guy. Like, he just continues to be incredibly over. It's just the most astounding thing to me, man. When he came out and cut that promo last night, and that crowd was hot for him.
Yeah.
I got a very good laugh at AJ Styles running out from behind him. It looked like Wolverine running out of the background and punching Cyclops in the stomach. It was really, really funny to me. Like, I couldn't even focus on what LA Knight was saying because I was laughing so hard at that. But that's one of our matches that we got announced officially last night. Will be LA Knight taking on AJ Styles at WrestleMania.
I think that's going to be a big deal because, like you said, LA Knight is still super over in spite of WWE trying to not have him be super over. The fans are like, no, we like this guy. He's over. AJ Styles in a WrestleMania match has been a mixed bag. Sometimes it's a really good match. Sometimes it's a really okay match. I think these two guys, if given time, have the time to really shine because AJ Styles is forever over and LA Knight is still really hot. It's a Philly crowd. Like, they have all the makings to have a really great match. I'm interested in it.
Yeah, I think it could be a good moment for both those guys.
I thought they were both maybe going to be involved in the U.S. title thing, but interesting.
Yeah, it's very. I still can't figure out why they didn't just put the belt on LA Knight when they had the chance. But you know, as we've seen, it seems like this company. Hey, celebrities here. We know he got a book first. Celebrity. Yes, we gotta make the celebrities seem like they're more cool than a wrestler. See, we got a bunch of humper chats here from Tony P. He says, "Damn, I don't know who should win Petty of the Week. Sean did his deserved victory lap, but it was tame-ish this time. Booker was being messy, but not petty. Rock calling out Ja. Maybe Guy breaking Darby's toes. I don't know." So, host choice this week. I don't know. I don't know if I have one.
Probably. Oh. Who's yours?
They thought they was gonna fire Yes Jules and she was gonna go somewhere and shut up. Yes, Jules was like, "Nah, I'm about to put everybody on blast. I'm about to put these
Mhm.
tweets out here." So I think yes, Jules getting fired and then coming out and saying, "Nah, sue me, fuck NDAs and all this other stuff." She's got to get our petty in a week. 'Cause
Respect. Yeah.
that was she was doing a lot.
It's everything surrounding that. The person who wrote the email, that I'm just like some wild things going on in this little brand or company or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah,
Nasty things, I should say.
yes.
The hip hop podcaster was also being nasty this week with this little interview. Joe
Yeah.
Budden, pretty
I,
gross,
I'm not watching that. I'm not
terrible.
watching that.
Like
Not watching that.
why is the question that I have. I just don't really understand it.
I'm good. I'm not watching that.
Yeah.
Y'all keep it.
Mhm.
I saw somebody saying that she's probably going to be on actual podcast soon. It's not going to be just like the individual interview. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
interested. I'm good.
Gross.
Uh, more from Tony P says, by the way, I showed my 9-year-old goddaughter NXT, and during the Roxanne promo, she was talking shit hard about her. She was not amused and hates promos from our from our talks. And get to the Graps girl. She also saw the Willow and Chris versus Julia and Sky match, and she loves Willow now. That's great.
hmm
I saw some of the Roxanne stuff, but I don't watch enough NXT to really judge it. It seems like they're really trying to lean into this heel thing with her, which I don't really understand because it seems like they have like a perfect baby face in her. So that
Like
I
the
don't know.
future of your division, the hottest baby face you can have is Roxanne. Why are you guys trying to make her heel? I guess they know something that I don't know.
I don't know. I don't watch enough to really understand it. So
Same.
he also says, speaking of NXT, I accept it is what it is at this point with the acting and stories. I still worry if these people will translate well to the main roster. Femi can in a year or two, like Tiffy did. I mean, I don't think that that's my concern with NXT at this point because
No.
we've now seen that, if anything, they've got a good track record of bringing people up from this version of NXT and them doing well. Like Tiffany Stratton's a good example. Already Braun looks like a big deal coming up. He's been great in the spots they used him in. Pretty Deadly has been great. Um, yeah, you just got a few people now that Solo Sokoa. I think that this version has produced good call ups, so that's not my concern. It's just the show
Mm-mm.
itself that I can't really get into sometimes. Well,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
not
I
even
think
sometimes. I'm not really into
the
it.
stories and what they do over there are the problem, but I think their development has improved tenfold. And I think they're just everybody down there needs more development, and will
Yeah.
eventually everybody that's going to get called up is going to get called up this year, but it's just about development. And I think what they do now is actually better than what they used to do, because
Yeah, I agree.
they get the wrestlers prepared there to kind of be exactly who they're going to be on the main roster, instead of getting prepared to be something and then switching their whole deal when they get up there.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest difference. There's not this big drastic jump from who they were on NXT to who they eventually are on the main roster. It feels more
Mhm.
seamless now.
Yeah, which is what it should be. It's their development brand.
Yeah, I think when Carmelo comes up for good, he's going to do well as well.
Totally. And Trick.
Which that match was also announced. That is also an official match for WrestleMania weekend. Trick versus Carmelo Anthony at Stand and Deliver. They're still doing that time slot on
Carmelo
Saturday.
Hayes. You said Carmelo Anthony.
No, sorry, not the
basketball brain.
Not that Hooper, other Hooper. Carmelo Hayes will be taking on Trick Williams at Stand and Deliver. They're still doing that time slot of noon on Saturday.
I was gonna say, are you going to breakfast NXT or what's up?
I don't think I'll be making that one, guys. Don't think I'll go. But
no breakfast NXT.
But yeah, shout out to them. I think they've done a good job of building this feud. That crowd was hot when Trick came back, based off the clips I've seen. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm excited about them getting a big opportunity on, because that's WrestleMania weekend is always a really big show, so that's dope.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to remember like the stories and the feuds, and I think they've got a good thing going. We've got some more Humper chats from Tony P. He's saying on the subject of the NXT call-ups, he's saying, but a lot of them feel like they will be stuck in NXT their whole WWE careers. I even worry too if they are main roster material, but the characters and presentation hinder a call up. Yeah, I think some of them, but I think the ones you can see the ones that are destined to be call ups. You can see those, and you can see how well they've prepped them by the time they come up.
I mean, look at Tiffany Stratton. She's like
Yeah.
probably the most recent example, and like she's exactly who she was in NXT because they developed her enough down there.
Yep. He gets into with some sad news about Miro and CJ. Can we now stop complaining about why someone is not on TV every fucking time? Remember when I talked about this when we found out that these problems or how banged up Yuka was? We keep forgetting these are human beings and they got their own shit they're dealing with. Yes, it may hamper storyline or we may want to see more of them, but again, that should always be secondary. Speaking of other problems, Jericho fatigue. He he needs capital letters here to go away and find a new path for himself in AEW. It's not that the storylines were bad ideas. They just overstayed his welcome or took an unneeded turn out of the blue and screwed the story up. I also think excuse me. I also think he hasn't recovered from the pre-World's End rumors that added to the go-away fuel. Yet one person who doesn't have the go-away heat is Hollywood Rock. Last night proved once and for all he was the best version of Rock. Yeah, the Jericho stuff. Yeah, when every time they say every time they say Jera Hook on TV, I'm just like, why are we
I
doing this,
don't
man?
know.
Why are we doing this? Like, I just don't want to see Hook linked to this guy, and you could tell already that it's probably lending to a one-on-one match because they have the match next week on Dynamite, and I'm just
like, what's the motivation? Chris Jericho's like, I wrestled your dad, and I have to see if you're as good as your dad. Like, I don't care about that.
I'm just not interested. Sorry. Lion Hook.
Lion Hook.
Which is not much better. I'm not interested. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's like it's that stink or stigma or whatever it was that Jericho had a few months ago still lingers, and it's like it feels like AEW's doing things to like avoid that by like not playing Judas, having him be Lionheart, having him in these different situations. But it just something just feels off about all of it, you know?
Yeah, I'm just not into it. It just feels like we've seen him do this version of like a hodgepodge tag team where they come up with a cutesy name for themselves, and that's why I thought Jera Hook, because it immediately makes me think of Jera Show and the Sex Gods and all the other times we've seen him do some version of the story.
What was him and AJ's tag team name? Y2 AJ or some shit like. I think it was Y2 AJ.
Yeah, we've just seen it so many times, and I'm just not interested, man.
Over it.
That quote came out this week of him saying how he came in with the mission statement of helping elevate young talent, and he feels like he's done this. And I just was like, welp. And it felt like while I was saying welp, the Curb Your Enthusiasm music was playing. I was like, all right, that's where we are. Cool.
You know what's so funny about Chris Jericho, Phil, is like historically, he has been the wrestler that will leave for 6 months, a year, or something to let us miss him, let wrestling fans miss him. He'll reinvent himself and come back as hot as ever. He just won't do that in AEW, though. Like, he will not. He's like, I'm here and I'm here to stay. Like, he needs to give AEW fans a chance to miss him. Because think of all the other top stars like Kenny Omega, all these people that have maybe had like injuries or something. We haven't seen them the whole AEW run. Chris Jericho, since day one of AEW, he's been an inaugural part. And it's like, yeah, we appreciate it, but like, maybe just take a little break, give space to someone else, give us time to miss you. Then you come back and we'll remember why we love Chris Jericho. Just a thought.
Yeah, I think that he could use a break.
Right?
I think we could use a break from him for a little
He's
bit.
historically been the guy that does that. That's what the most interesting. Like, dude, you do that. You come back with the different moments and different times, different hair, different gear. Like, do it again.
Right. Tony P's got a few more super chats here. A few more HumperChats here. Appreciate you, Tony P, as usual. He says, now some big business talk. Congrats to Mercedes on getting the bag. She was a star. I am excited to see what kind of global revolution she will lead with AEW, and it looks good with who was on ROH before the show. It looks like Forbidden Door 3 will be lit this year too. Now this take may sound crazy. We know Mercedes is getting that world title, but a TBS title reign first doesn't seem like that bad of a play outright. I want to see how these 5 women storyline plays out. I also think May/Tony versus Deanna/Rosa tag match is going to lead to Rosa versus Tony. And I believe Rosa is going to be the one to beat Tony. Next big feud will be Deeb versus Rosa after Deeb wants the big belt. Final boss versus the boss of bosses. Yeah, appreciate you, Tony P. I'm starting to think more and more that this is my crazy hot take. I'm starting to think more and more that Serena Deeb will be the one that beats Tony Storm. It makes a lot of sense from a storytelling point of view that she's brought this character stuff in, and Deeb has been saying the entire time since she came back, focus on the wrestling. I'm a wrestler. I want to elevate division as a wrestler's wrestler. I kind of feel like Deeb is going to be the one that beats her.
That's a great. I didn't even think about that, Phil. Yeah, the story. Every time that Deeb has done a promo, she's like, I'm bringing this division back to what it needs to be. It's about the wrestling. It's not about these characters, not about this bullshit. It's about what happens in the ring. I didn't even connect it to that. Oh, yeah, she could be telling the story of that. But what do you think about Thunder Rosa's kind of the same thing of like, I'm back to reclaim the division. I'm back to show you motherfuckers what this women's division is about. She's kind of telling the same story, too. She has a little bit of stock in this game.
Yeah, I do think that the matchup for Dynasty is probably going to be Thunder Rosa versus Tony Storm. But I don't think Tony's reign is quite over yet. I do think she's probably going to win that match. I think this is leading to the Deeb match by Double or Nothing, though.
Okay. That's hard. I like it. I'm loving what Deeb is doing at this moment. Yeah, on not Collision, but Rampage, they did announce Deonna's partner of being Thunder Rosa. So it will be Thunder and Deonna taking on Tony and Mariah May, which should be a really dope match coming up. Happy to see Thunder Rosa back in these positions. I think it's all really dope.
Yeah. I think the women's division is cooking right now. I think it's in a really good position. I think we've got like maybe 2 more Humper Chats. But I'm going to hit you guys with a word from our sponsor.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get into some Mercedes talk. Cause,
finally.
We're kind of overdue. But yeah, a word from our sponsors first.
What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful, here to tell you about BetOnline AG. The highest credit card acceptance industry-wide, 25-plus year track record, safe and secure online environments, payouts in minutes, the fastest in the industry. You can bet big with their high limits and rebet functionality, the earliest line, so odds open before the competition, the industry's best bonuses on every qualifying deposit, and we're talking on everything. Wrestling, they got it. MMA, they got it. Boxing, they got it. But hey, you know what? I know we're Fightful. We don't just live for that. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey, racing, esports, anything you can think of. Not only that, this is exclusively where Fightful gets our lines from. If you hear us talking about lines on a prediction show or on our post shows, it is always from BetOnline AG. Please bet responsibly and only bet what you can. BetOnline.ag.
Please bet responsibly. But if you do want to bet, betonline.ag. Yeah, we had some big business this week because AEW ascended on Boston. If you
Boston.
Yeah, AEW ascended on TD Garden in Boston this week to host big business and opened straight away with the CEO. Mercedes is all elite. That is official.
Wow.
When I was looking at stuff, because I didn't get a chance to watch it live, wasn't feeling that great Wednesday night. So I watched the clips, but I watched the whole episode the next day. But just seeing the graphic and everything go up, just seeing Mercedes there, seeing Mercedes in AEW commercials and stuff right away, it's just wild. Like I kind of assumed this was coming, especially after she showed up at All In, that she would eventually show up at AEW. I feel like it was inevitable. It just seemed like it was just a matter of when, a matter of how we're going to get here. Was she going to sign a contract? But she is officially a signed wrestler. She is all elite. I thought this was great. I thought they treated her like a big deal. A lot of similarities to First Dance. I thought her coming out and getting a great reaction from the Boston crowd, just looked like money coming out. She looked great. Had an outfit change for us in this show. She came out, cut the promo, and I mean, Mercedes promo is a Mercedes promo. I think some people aren't going to like it because she has her style of doing promos, but I thought this felt heartfelt. I thought that the crowd was into it. I thought she said a lot of things that could keep you guessing for what this run is going to look like. There are a lot of wrestlers straight away that she can wrestle. There was some talk of her doing the DMD gesture when she said CEO. People picked up on that. Britt herself picked up on it. She mentioned Willow. She mentioned Willow twice in all of this because she talked about her in a promo and she talked about her again in an interview with Renee. But I thought this was great. What did you think of just her debut and her taking part in the stuff after the main event?
I love that they did it just like the Punk thing of like, we know why everyone's here, start the show and bring her out. My favorite thing about this, I think though, Phil, was as annoying as it immediately became. I could like see the CEO chant was stuck in my head. That was my favorite part, that like there's so many people that know of Sasha Banks, they know her history, they know why she here and who she is. But I love that she came in and established a brand new thing. Like now we know Mercedes Moné as the CEO, and there's this chant attached to her. She didn't have a Sasha Banks chant or anything connected to that previously. I love that she came in like brand new thing. Here's me. Here's a brand new everybody. But beyond that, she looks like a superstar, man. The same kind of aura we talked about with The Rock. Like that's the kind of aura that Mercedes is walking around with. Like she looks different than everybody. She looks like she's on a different level. She presents herself like a huge star. She talks like it. She walks like it. She looks like it. Like this was awesome. I loved everything about them kind of giving her the moment. Like how many times did we seen a woman's wrestler, a black woman's wrestler get the spotlight? Like there's been time where it's like main events, blah, 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 all these type of things. But I'm talking about like this show is for this person. We're in this arena for this one wrestler. Just awesome. But yeah, the CEO thing I think was just so cool to me of like she came in and had a whole arena chanting for her for this new thing that we didn't know before this night here. Really dope. What did you think about her new theme? How do you compare that to her WWE theme? And I think you're pretty partial to her New Japan theme, right?
Yeah, I like the New Japan startup theme better. I mean, I get what it's for.
That classic on the New Japan that sample on there is just classic.
Yeah, I get what it's for. I get it's to get people to chant the CEO thing, and it clearly worked. I have to give it a few more listens. Apparently, she's dropping some bars on there. Have not actually listened to it and heard like, because I couldn't really hear it over the crowd noise. But
what's she gonna be talking about, Phil?
Yeah, apparently she broke in the rap that she broke her heel, and that was the injury. People thought it was an ankle injury, but she had actually broke her heel. She revealed that in the theme song.
Rap. Okay.
But I know that because of the Renee interview.
All right.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the sample they used for it. I was definitely like, okay, this is different. And you know, it might grow on me. I wasn't like that. Like when I first heard the New Japan theme song, I was like, oh, I like this. When I heard this one, I was like, okay.
This
cool,
is like this one sound like it'll be on like a DJ Khaled record, maybe.
Yeah, it definitely feels like some of the early records that came out from Watch the Throne, and I was like, that's what we're doing. Like the ham joint, I was like,
The hand joint, I was like, I don't know, you guys. I don't know if
this is
this
it.
is
Like it
Yeah.
reminds me similar of that, like very grandiose sounding, and I was like, I guess, and now like Ham is one of them records on there.
Ham is hard. Yeah.
Ham
When
is
it first
higher,
came out, I
but
was like, nah, but when they hit now, I'm like, yo, Ham is hard as hell.
yeah, when I
Hard as
first
mo-
saw it, I was like, okay, cool. I guess, but it was a different vibe of hearing that and hearing Otis, man. Otis, that was like that. Yeah.
I can always think of her. I was coming out of a Dodgers game in LA, I remember. And on the radio, they were playing it like there's a famous Funkmaster Flex where he was going crazy. They were doing that same thing in LA, just playing it back to back. I was like, what song is this? This is the hardest song I've ever heard in my life. What a
But-
moment. What a time.
But yeah, I love that they brought her in and immediately made her feel like a big deal.
Right.
They haven't really done that with any woman they sign. Like they've had
No.
big signings here and there. They've treated women like like they brought in new signings and they've immediately let you know that they're going to be a big part of the programming. But this was different. This felt like not just that we're bringing in a new women's wrestler. It felt like a star. Like this felt like one of the biggest stars in the company now. Like this is right up there with signing Okada and Ospreay.
Yep, exactly. And I love that they strung her throughout the episode. Like you said, she came in back at the end. She gave it up to Rio a little bit before her match, and then she came out to help Willow. And I think that her immediately being like, yo, what's up, Willow? We got some history. Essentially, like, I got hurt off a match with you. Like, we're gonna have to revisit that. I love it because I love Willow being put in these positions. She was in the main event of Dynamite and she got a big win. I think like all of this is like really great for Willow being able to be, because like anybody that stands next to Mercedes now, Phil, is like big money. It's like you can already see it off that first night.
Yeah. And I would agree with the Lake Rats here because I feel like, yeah, we know who Ospreay and Okada are and they're big stars, but she was immediately treated like a bigger acquisition than either of them.
She was.
And I think that that's a really good sign for the women's division because they've never treated a woman coming in like that. And I think that kind of shows like her immediate impact when people are saying like, what is her impact? And I know people are talking the ratings talk. Oh, it didn't change the ratings. It didn't change this, but no, she immediately changed just what it means to be a women's wrestler coming to AEW. Coming in straight away and opening and closing the show, having an angle, not just being there and being like, all right, well, I'm here, guys. Like immediately starting an angle with her to end the show. I thought the way they handled the Willow stuff was really good. Willow versus Rio was very good as well. Fire match. But I thought the way they handled it of Mercedes coming out to stop Julia and Sky Blue from attacking Willow, but then kind of looking her down like, I don't know. And then Willow looked down at her foot like, and then she was like, oh no, it's all good, and raised her hand like we're all good here. And then she got in the ring like it might not be as good as we think, but I like the story here. I definitely feel like she could be in the TBS title picture soon. I know some people won't be happy about that, but I think that there are good things that can come with that. I think it's wild to think of the idea of her challenging for the TBS title coming to AEW and she's not challenging Jade. That's just still surreal to me. It's still surreal to think about her being over there and the title that Jade made famous is on somebody else when she got there. It's just, yeah.
I've been seeing people saying that they don't like her as TBS champion. I'm like, why? I love her as TBS champion because as Mercedes is TBS champion. Like if she does win, and I'm like, I love that if she does because how do you add prestige to this championship? You make Mercedes the fucking face of this championship. Like the other one, the AEW Women's World Championship is established with one of the best characters in the whole company. Like that's doing great. The TBS championship still needs to have that glory added to it, still needs to have that big run added to it. And what other way to do it than Mercedes coming in off of that?
Yeah, I would kind of feel bad for Tony if they brought Mercedes right in and then just derailed her reign and put the title on Mercedes immediately. Because that's kind of happened to Tony a few times where the rug has been pulled out from under her first title run. She wasn't even champion. She was a interim champion until she lost the belt. Then they said that she was actually champion.
Mhm.
Then even like her next reign, it was kind of a transitional reign. This has really been her best reign as champion. And for them to just like kind of go, oh, well, we got a bigger star now, so let's put the belt on her, I would feel really bad for
Yeah,
Tony.
I don't like that. Mhm.
So I think that you could get to both. I think she can eventually be world champion. She could be
course.
PBS champion. I'm not mad at either or at this
Mhm.
moment. But I think that they immediately let you know that she's going to be a big deal. I mean, she was in a commercial straight away. Like the commercial came on during the episode, and I was like, "Oh, they've been working."
This is happening.
But when you think about like the reports about them bringing in Jen Peppermint, and Jen
Mhm.
Peppermint seems like she was a Mercedes signing. I know that there was some talk around Jen and the lawsuit with WWE, but I think it's a good sign that if she is coming to work with Mercedes, that Mercedes is the one that vouched for her. I think it's a good sign that other people that work there vouch for Jen. I, of course, cannot speak on the specifics of what WWE was sued on and her part in the lawsuit. But at least for me, it feels like there's a good sign that there are so many people of color, specifically Black people, that are vouching for her. Now, not going to say that that means she's innocent. I
Mhm.
don't know that.
Mm-mm.
But I think it is a good sign that those people are vouched for her. I do think it's also a good sign for AEW as a company that you're not just bringing in Mercedes and plopping her in the division. You're willing to listen to her inputs on how you can make the company better, how I can make this division better. Because we've seen so many signings come in and straight away come on TV and go, I'm going to elevate this division. I'm going to make it better. But for her to come in and already have like behind the scenes stuff, at least for her and other women, like tangible stuff that makes the division better, I think that's impactful. I think it's also immediately impactful that she shows up, and you have to put the women in the main event. You can't put them in the same time slot because we don't do the same thing with her. She's here now. It has
Yep.
to be a different presentation. So I think that immediately helps the rest of the women as well. And that goes to my point of I wouldn't like to see you do that and then just take the belt off of Tony
Right.
out of the blue. So I think she's made an immediate impact in that point. I
Mhm.
think that also when you look at like the president of Stardom being backstage, and you can see how Stardom and New Japan still very much wants to be in the business of working with Mercedes, and that's been kind of the thing that it seems like has brought them to the table with Tony. Like it seems like the Stardom inclusion with Forbidden Door is going to happen now. I don't know. I know that there was talk of if Rossi was the guys that was the roadblock to that.
Looking crazy in the light.
It looks like there might be some, some smoke to that fire there. But I do think it also is telling that, the president of Stardom made a point to post online. Tony posted online of him being backstage. We also got the report of New Japan wanting to still do things with Mercedes. So I think that, like I said, that also makes an immediate impact because if you have a wrestler that has already worked with Stardom in New Japan that's trusted, then yeah, you can bring those two people to the table. You can bring those two sides to the table. Even though there's a partnership with New Japan, I feel like that's a very good sign about where we're going with the women and possibly getting Stardom women to come over.
Yeah, I think the energy surrounding all of this is really great, Phil. That's what I love. New Japan and Stardom this week were like, yeah, that AEW debut is cool and all, but all we care about is being in the Mercedes business. Like wherever she at is where we trying to be at.
We still want to work with this one.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're like cool, everything and all. That's great debut, but like, when's she gonna come and be with us again?
yeah, and I mean, the other part about it, people are talking about the impact of it. I remember when she went on a hiatus from WWE before she came back, and she went to Japan, and the world was going crazy about her going and touring in Japan and going over there to train and taking pictures with people. One of the wrestlers she took a picture was with Mina Shirakawa, and straight away, Mina Shirakawa was at Ring of Honor the night that she was here.
Same night.
The same night. And I, of course, doesn't feel like it's a coincidence. It just seems like it's a good sign with what they're doing. I'm sure you could pick at other things, like I said, the ratings thing, but I think in terms of what this means for the division, it feels like this is a bright spot. Now, we could be sitting on this podcast next year or a few months from now. Like, what happened there?
What happened? Where's
But
Mercedes?
I there's a lot to be optimistic about here with
I
just
think
the way
so.
that they've treated her right away, the way they positioned her, the way that they're treating some of the other women coming in. I'm excited. I think they've got a really good division. Like all of a sudden, they've got a lot of depth now. They've got Deanna, you've got Mariah May, you've got Queen Amanada, you've got Serena Deeb back, you've got Megan Bain possibly coming back soon. You got the rumors about certain NWA wrestler as well. You got a lot going on with the division. This is the most I feel like there's been positive buzz around the division, and not just positive buzz, but you can see the changes on television. You can see the women are getting more time. You can see the women are getting more storylines. I'm excited. I'm excited for where this is going.
Yeah, I think, Phil, coming into this, we've talked for a year now at minimum about what the impact of Mercedes would be coming into the show. And if Wednesday is anything, we're off to a good start. It was like they're going to have such a big superstar where they're going to be forced to show Mercedes, forced to give her exactly what she needs. The funny thing is we've been talking about her potentially winning championships, but exactly what we've been saying about what they could do in WWE, she's such a big star that just wrestling her has enough stakes, has enough power that she could be the extra matches on these shows that aren't surrounding the women's championship, either one of them, but still have huge stakes because Mercedes is involved in it. She starts wrestling some of these younger women, and it's just like, well, I want to have an opportunity. I want to beat her. Just kind of like the Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson story of like, it's not about a championship. I just want to beat her because they say that she's the best. So she's going to be able to tell so many stories beyond even being champion. And that's what's got me really excited. I'm excited about all this, the partnerships, the effort that they put into women's wrestling, specifically a Black women's wrestler like Mercedes, my favorite women's wrestler of all time. The energy of we talked about this on the post show with Denise. When Will Ospreay, they announced Will Ospreay is a part of All Elite. He goes into that locker room. The rest of the wrestlers aren't thinking, damn, Will Ospreay's here, he's going to take all the opportunities. They're thinking, one, I want to wrestle at Will Ospreay, and two, I have to up my game up 1,000 because he's going to be on the card and I have to try to outdo him. I got to try to compete with him. That's how it is. Mercedes is the same thing. She walks into that women's locker room and they aren't thinking, damn, Mercedes here. They're thinking, oh, we're going to get more views, more eyes on her. I want to wrestle her and I want to be better than her. So I have to up my game. This adds more competition to the locker room. This adds more competition to wrestling in general. Like, this is just such a really great moment, I think, in wrestling. And that was a perfect way to start it in Boston. Like, the energy in that arena, Phil, like, they were talking, WrestleTix had put out, like, it was at this number. And then that day, like, Mercedes was like, I'm going to be there, essentially, with like the tweet of like, Boston, like, I'm not saying that I'm at AEW, but you should probably be there. Then a bunch of more tickets moved. Like, the energy surrounding her is just so great, man. What a great moment.
Yeah, you could just tell that she's a star because, again, similarities of Punk. As soon as she comes in, we're already getting the reports of her having heat backstage. We're already getting the similar stuff.
That's how you know she's a big star.
That's how you know she's a star, because she comes in with not just people being excited, but immediately people trying to diminish it. Immediately people, coming up with the negative reports. And that's what I thought with the ratings thing, where people were like, oh, where is she a draw? And I'm like, guys, we didn't know she was going to be on the show. First of all, like that, it was just selling people on a rumor. And even if that wasn't enough to pull ratings, who cares, man? Who cares?
They're still like number 1 or number 2 on the night. Like, it's like they're doing exactly what it is. Yeah, I hate that that kind of discourse of like, well, look, she didn't do anything. Because there was a bunch of people this week of being like, they should have straight out been like, she's gonna be here on Wednesday. This is this, but it's like, it's not a one night only thing. Like, she signed a contract for a couple of years. Like, there's more than just one night.
We gotta see what this looks like long term,
right?
And I don't know. I just don't think, like, at least the way my brain works, I don't think, all right, Mercedes is going over there and wrestling a completely new crop of women and doing exciting things. And my immediate thought of, I wonder how many people are gonna watch this. Are 1 million people gonna watch this? Like, that's not my first thought. Like, I just don't care about ratings numbers like that. But
All those women you just named, Megan Bain, Serena, like all those women, I want to see Mercedes wrestle them. I don't care if a million people are watching. I'm going to be watching it.
I mean, soon as she came backstage and had the moment with Rio, I was like, man, I sure would like to see Mercedes versus Rio. That sounds like some heat.
It's gonna fucking be insane.
And there's so many other things. Like, she hasn't interacted with Sheeta yet. You've got Athena there. There's so many matches she could have. You got
Trish, Queen, bro.
Trish Adora, Queen Aminata. You got Thunder Rosa back there. You got so many matches that I am interested in.
I can talk for the next hour how much Mercedes and Thunder Rosa match I want. Like we could do that with so many different women, bro. Deonna.
Yeah, and I mean, she's talked about wanting to wrestle in Mexico a lot, and they've got the CMLL stuff working. Could possibly get her on a card over there. It seems like, because we've heard for the longest that the New Japan Strong belt was made for her. So I feel like eventually she's going to get a match for that belt. I don't know where it will happen, but
in Mexico that might be kind of hard.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, that she's talked about that being a goal for her. So there's a lot of things to be excited here. And I mean, I know the other talking point is people saying, well, she's already said she wants to go back. I mean, it's never been out of the realm of possibility for me that she could end up going back. But in the meantime, if you're telling me that Mercedes at 32 years old is going to get a chance to achieve all these things she wanted to do outside of WWE, like continue to work in Japan, continue to work with wrestlers from all over the globe, possibly wrestling in Mexico, possibly wrestling some of my favorite wrestlers that are not there anymore. Again, I just don't. When we get there, we'll talk about that. But in the meantime, all of this sounds dope.
And I think that her little interview worked. I saw it this week with my own eyes. Her saying that she can potentially go back to WWE. That was still her teasing going to AEW. Because I saw WWE fans this week saying she did that interview where she said she's going to go back to WWE and she lied because she went to AEW. There's reports that AEW wrestlers are mad about that, or that this was wrong timing. I'm like, I don't think this is what you guys think it is. Like, she was still teasing that she's a free agent, so I could potentially go back to WWE is a thing if I'm acting as a free agent. We all know there was all the teases of AEW. There's everything big business, but it wasn't official yet until Wednesday. So her saying that I didn't think was that crazy, and it worked because some of these fans thought she might come back. Not the wildest thing in the world.
I think she very much could have been trolling people, but I also just don't think it's the end of the world. When we talked about it last time, I don't think it's the end of the world. But yeah, I just think
probably will go back at least to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Like, come on, you guys.
I don't. Yeah, in the meantime, I'm not really concerned about that.
But beyond that, I'm excited about this. I think all the partnerships, I think it feels like, remember when she first came into New Japan and that energy was exciting. She was doing different. This feels even wider and even different because there's so many more wrestlers she can interact with, so many more promotions she could be a part of. Her being an AEW official wrestler adds even more because the partnerships that they have. Like, I think this is great for everybody. And Wednesday showed me that if they're going to keep investing time like this into her and the rest of the women's division, we're in for some good shit. And we haven't even talked about all the other wild Okada or Ospreay or Bryan Danielson or any of that stuff that's also a part of it. But the Mercedes stuff is phenomenal. Love it.
Fire. What did you think of the money talk around her as well? There were reports about what her contract was, and there was this fake report out there of her making like some crazy number. Like at one point, I saw like 10 million out there.
10 mil a year.
I was like, guys, come on.
I think I know how money works. That's a lot of some dollars.
I just don't think it's weird that people are. I think it's weird that people are talking about the money like it's just such a bad thing that she would want a big contract. I just think the way that people are talking about it, like she's money hungry, and
they said her and Okada are bag chasers, and Ospreay. I'm like, yeah, dude, we talk every week on this show, on every show, about how we want wrestlers. It's all about the wrestlers. It's not about the company.
Yeah.
We want wrestlers to get paid. Yes, we want all these people to have giant contracts because they deserve them.
Right. So I was confused why this turned into, oh, well, the only reason she didn't go back is because they didn't offer the money she want. good. If
Yeah.
if a company
Right.
isn't if a company doesn't see your value and you think somebody else will pay you more, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what happens in sports all the time. That's how negotiations work. So this idea that, oh well, she's only there because they're paying her money. Good. Like you should want her to get what she feels is her worth. Now, I don't know what she's paid. Frankly, it isn't our business. I'm sure it'll eventually come out at some point if people keep digging into it. But I just don't think
Everybody
that,
keeps trying to get their takes off on what it is. I'm like, what's also the fascination of this, of you saying that you're the one that knows how much she's getting paid? Like, what is this?
right. And so it was the 10 million, then the 5 million was out there at one point that she's making 5 million per year. And of course, that would have made her the highest paid women's wrestler in the industry, possibly the highest paid women's wrestler ever. And just the way people were talking about it, I was just like, this is a good thing, is it not? Because not only is this a good thing for Mercedes that she can go in as a black woman and demand that, come in and with her agent negotiate a big contract for her. That tells the rest of the industry, no, you can't keep underpaying women. If you want a big
Facts.
female star, if you want a Becky, if you want a Charlotte, you got to pay them. That doesn't just help her; that helps the rest of the women in the business.
Everybody.
So I don't understand why people were framing this as, oh well, she's just in this for the money. She don't care about wrestling. To say that anybody doesn't care about the wrestling, Mercedes, like this woman seems like she eats, sleeps, and breathes wrestling. I don't think it's just that, but I do think it is. Hey, I've been doing this for long enough. I'm a star.
I deserve a bag.
I've main evented WrestleMania. I've been in Star Wars. I've proven to you that I can be a draw. Then pay me.
Easy as that. And if there's any merit to these Becky's contract expiring this year, you think she's not about to use this as leverage and get a giant contract herself, brother?
I said it when she went down to NXT and they bust $1 million down there. For the people that keep wanting to do the ratings talk, bruh. When you go in there and negotiate and you know that you being on NXT is part of the reason why Title Tuesday lost that Tuesday and they hit those big numbers, now you got to pay her.
And a lot.
You got
a
to pay
big
her.
bag. But yeah, this is great for the industry. This is great for everybody. Anytime a wrestler get a good contract, a big contract, that's a good thing. WWE's been outbidding people for the longest time. They've been giving up big contracts. Some people have only went there because they have the most money. Like, that's just how wrestling business works. It's not like a new thing. Nobody's changing the game. This is just like normal everyday wrestling. And if all of our favorite wrestlers can get a big bag and live comfortably to do the things and help out their bodies and entertain us every week, we should want that for everyone. The lowest tiered wrestler, if they're getting a giant bag, that's awesome. They should be.
Yes. I don't know if people realize this, but wrestlers are historically underpaid. And so when people were saying at one point what the number was, and then they were saying what the number was for Okada and saying Okada makes more than most of these wrestlers at WWE. And I was just like, have you ever stopped to think it's not that he's overpaid, that it's also that those wrestlers are underpaid?
Yeah. Criminally.
Like, and I mean, across the board, when they were talking about it the other day and they had like the figures guesstimating what Roman is, I was like, I wouldn't be shocked if Roman Reigns, of all people, is also underpaid.
I would say so. From the numbers that I've seen from him, like, yeah, I would think he's underpaid. And I don't know if there's those real numbers at all, but like, he's making way more for you than you guys are paying him for.
Yeah, based on what I know about wrestler contracts. It's not what people think they are. And that's why I think it's wild that people are talking about what she may make and how this might impact things. I just think it's kind of crazy. If she's getting a bag, good for her. She deserves it.
She should get her more. Especially what she bring. Like, she was at the Celtics game afterwards and they're like, AEW superstar, Mercedes, like, this
right
that's
away
not for everybody else.
Right away, got the plug in right away. You can't just do that with any women's wrestler. You can't just do that with any wrestler, period. But I think it's saying a lot that you can't just do that with a women's wrestler. If the stigma on AEW for the longest is how they treat women over there, I think this immediately changes that conversation. You can't say that it doesn't. The way that they brought her in, everything about it, this changes that conversation.
Right. Yeah.
Now,
this changed everything.
Now, I don't think that means everything will be perfect going from forward. Everything will be booked perfect, but I do think that this is a step in the right direction for them as a company.
I think coming off of how this year has started and the heat that we've seen and the signings and everything, this is a good sign. This is a step in the right direction. Now, like Phil said, we could be here in a year being like, what the hell happened? I don't know what went wrong here, but I wouldn't think so. I think we're in a good position.
Yeah, a lot to be excited about from this. I thought there was a lot from this episode of Dynamite that I also enjoyed. I certainly seems like we're getting Joe versus Swerve at the pay-per-view. They're continuing to promote Bryan versus Will Ospreay as well.
Insane.
The stuff we got on Collision with Bryan, both the match with Shane Taylor, which was great, but the exchange with Ospreay afterwards was really, really great. And then Ospreay cut a really great promo on Wednesday night. If you thought he was just coming in to do the flips and give you the 5-star matches, buddy, y'all had him fucked up, man, because he came straight in.
How comfortable is Will Ospreay on American television?
I was curious what he looks like as a television wrestler. Turns out pretty entertaining.
Yeah, he gets it.
So same thing with Okada. If you were concerned about what he looks like as a television wrestler, turns out he's pretty good at the wrestling thing, and also he's pretty good at the character work stuff.
I watched that sing it like 50,000 times at this point.
I'm surprised that people don't know that his English is this good at this point, because we've seen him speak in English a few times, and he's pretty good. I mean, one of my favorite Okada moments was him winning in Madison Square Garden and finishing it up and getting on a microphone and screaming, "New York!" So yeah, I wasn't surprised by how good his English here was, but I thought like just the fact that not just was his English good, but the fact that he could enunciate and also do the character stuff in English. I thought it was great. I think him and the Bucks have something good going here. It definitely feels like it's better than just them doing EVP stuff without him. He adds a completely different dynamic. It feels a lot more like the old Bucks as well. Like the segment that they had after the match on Collision that went up online, it felt a lot like old school BTE stuff. Which gave me hope for this stuff. I was like, this feels like the Bucks that I became a fan of.
Exactly.
And so I was like, this is a real good sign.
Kind of the Bucks we thought that coming into AEW we were gonna be getting on a weekly basis, essentially.
Yeah, and so I think what they're doing straight away with Okada and Ospreay is good. I think a lot of other stuff that they've got going is good. The stuff that isn't for me, like the Lion Hook stuff, doesn't bother me as much, because I think the show has been more focused than it's been in a long time. I think coming out of Revolution, the show has been a lot more focused on certain storylines. It doesn't
what you
feel
thought
as
about
scatterbrained.
your boy Wardlow? Is he dead? He dead in the water? Is it over for him?
No, I think
Samoa Joe beat him.
I mean,
decisively.
I didn't expect him to win, so
no. But people are like, "Oh my God, how could they do that to Wardlow? Where do you go from here?" And it's like, do we expect Wardlow to be world champion at this point, Phil?
No. I think that this is to build more stuff for when Max comes back, and I think that's going to be Max's first feud is Wardlow. So
how much interest do you have in that, though?
I got to see what Max does when he comes back. I think it can.
That's kind of where I'm at, and I'm like, it could be a thing, but we got to see.
I think it can work, but I think the thing that I was the most hopeful for coming out of this week, because I was concerned, is Jay White being Jay White again. I was like, oh, thank God,
brother,
because I was a little worried, because I was like,
I saw him on that YouTube show, Phil, the pre-show. I was like, you know what, we gotta think about this.
I was a little bit worried, because I figured he was going to turn on them, because he always turns on these guys. Like, you can't trust Jay White. Like, we've seen this historically. You cannot trust Jay White. So I knew he was going to turn on them, but just some of the segments he was in, I said, guys, where are we going? And so when we got back to the shits this week, had a very good match with Darby.
Tremendous.
And that's the thing that I say with Jay White a lot, is that if you think he's just like a heel that can come out, cut the promos, and you think he's just like guy from Bullet Club and that was his claim to fame, This guy is really good at wrestling as well. His counter wrestling is phenomenal.
His counter wrestling is insane, Phil.
Phenomenal. The way
I
he can
think he might
suddenly
be my favorite heel work. Like when, like in the ring, healing it up. Jay
he's
White
just
is
so great.
phenomenal, man.
He's just so good. And I've seen
This
him in
week
person.
really showed it. I was like, oh shit, like this is Jay White. Like how he's working over Darby methodically, slowly getting into these positions. I'm like, oh, Jay White is different.
He's great. The way that he can take a small thing and get the crowd to boom. When he started doing the Sting stuff, he did the crow in the corner and tried to do the Stinger splash, and he's just so good at it, man. I've seen him do this in person. I was in the building watching him will this crowd to chant for Juice at a New Japan show.
Mm-hmm.
He's just so good at it, and so.
Yeah.
Seeing him have that good match and seeing him beat Jay afterwards when he was getting ready to Pillmanize Darby and Billy Gunn ran out there. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, no, don't worry about it. It's big business. It's big business. No. It's big business. And so then he comes back after he thinks he saved Darby. He was like, this is some bullshit. No, it's big business. Big business. It's great.
Billy didn't know he wasn't with the vibes. That's why.
It was great. So he then proceeded to jump the claim, and they thought that they
Finally.
saved Darby, and they were like, nah, get Darby back in here. We're about to bust that ankle up. Y'all thought we was done? Y'all thought we was done? No. Merge those belts, guys. Seriously.
Yeah, please. I think the moral of this story is like, I'm glad that they beat him up, merge these belts, and
Merge those
let's
belts,
get
guys.
to it. And also that Jay, you saw on display this week, Jay White is a main event heel. Like he could be slotted into any feud as the main heel right now without any prep and be the hottest angle and the hottest story of the thing. This match showed it, and this angle showed it. My favorite part was Darby missing the coffin drop onto the apron and almost getting counted out. And as soon as he slides in, Jay White's already on his neck with the Blade Runner, like immediately, like he doesn't give him 1 second and it's over. I was like, that's such a beautiful finish.
Yeah, he's great, man. Get this guy back in the singles title run. Get him back in the world title picture.
Him and Takeshita, they have to be in title contention at this point.
He's just so great, man. Can't say enough about how much I am a Jay guy. So yeah, a little worried.
Yeah, for a while there, it was like, I don't know, because I kept seeing people being like, did Jay White make the wrong decision? And I was like, shut up, you guys. But then first a couple weeks, I was like, it's looking kind of crazy out here. But they were telling a story and they executed it, and it's great. But I felt like if you think of any person that you want to be the AEW world champ right now, if they're a baby face, like Jay White is perfect against him. Like you can name Samoa Joe, Swerve, Hangman, Okada, Will Ospreay. Like he is a foil for any of those guys. And like, that's a great position to exist in. There's not a lot of guys like Jay White on the roster that are like, can get real life heat, but then still be that great heel in the match. Like he's different.
Yeah, and still be very charismatic. The way we were talking about Rock earlier and how that was how I was sitting there watching the big multi-man match he was in on the pre-show and just seeing him just outshine most of the guys in that ring. And I was like, he don't belong there, man.
One of these things is not like the other.
He doesn't belong there. And that's not a shade to those guys. It's just Jay is the final package, man. You could see it. Like he has the full package. He can wrestle. He can talk. He's just got it. He's got the look. Like he didn't belong there, man.
Former IWGP heavyweight champion for a reason, dude. That they don't just give that belt to anybody. Like he earned that shit. Like he fought tooth and nail to become the top guy in a fucking Japanese promotion, and he deserves it again over here in AEW. Crazy with the Darby Allin thing, Phil. Everybody was like, that promo he did last week being like, hey, this could potentially be my last match. I'm going to Mount Everest. We were all like, dude, be careful. We don't want this. And then yesterday, TMZ releases Darby Allin really broke his foot there in the match with Jay White doing a dive, and it's not going to be climbing Mount Everest. So how things have changed.
Yeah, it was wild to not only see that he was injured on a very routine thing. We just saw this guy jump off a ladder through glass. He wasn't injured because of that.
Just discourse about like he killed the business with this glass dive, and he was okay.
Yeah, he just got injured on a very routine thing, so that was wild. But just everything around it was wild. Like him saying, "Well, won't be able to climb Mount Everest now," and I'm just like, "Yeah, maybe you don't need to do that,
Yeah, I
man.
think this might have been a sign.
Yeah,
This
it's
is a
okay."
sign, I think. Yeah, because I don't know. I don't think there was enough time. Like when I was a few weeks ago on the post show with Denise, I started reading up on Mount Everest things, and it's like, oh, you
Scary.
need 7 to 9 weeks of training and like intense training. And I'm like, if you're on this wrestling show, you're not doing intense training. Like you're not like you need to be there 24 hours a day doing this. So like all of it surrounding it, I was like, this is so scary. And so when he was like, hey, maybe I shouldn't be doing, I was like, yeah, not just this year, but all the years, I think.
Yeah. Please be safe, Darby.
It's crazy that a sign is breaking your foot. Like the universe is like, no, let's break this nigga's foot. We can't let him go. Cannot let him go.
But yeah, of course, get well soon, Darby.
Get well soon, Darbs.
But yeah, he was definitely scaring me with this Mount Everest thing.
That promo last week, man, I was really like, okay, I'm scared for this person, dude. I know this is a wrestling promo, but you being like, this could be my last match ever is crazy, dude. What?
Yeah. To go climb a mountain.
To go climb a mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, but there was a lot to like about Dynamite. Definitely excited about Dynasty coming up. I do think that will be in the building. I keep trying to like subtly talk myself out of it, and I found something out like a few days ago, and I was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna go.
I keep looking in the sky like maybe me too, but I can't. After Philly, it's like 3 weeks after Philly, ain't it?
Yeah, it is.
Less than that, maybe.
Yeah, it's like the week afterwards, because that Tuesday when I come back, the weekend is Windy City Riot, and then the next weekend after that is Dynasty. Yeah.
So you get 3 weeks of heat, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We'll be at a lot of wrestling shows in April.
Let's get into a few super chats before we move forward. Chuck J says, "Damn it, Phil, you just popped the hell out of me, David Ruffin, and the Bloodline." So it's looking like. That's what it's looking like.
Kind of feels like that, man. Dwayne Johnson and what's their names?
Real Take Wrestling says, shout out to y'all for inspiring me as a content creator. Love listening to you guys every week. Keep it up. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Thank you for coming every week and listening to Phil and I just, shoot the shit. It's great. Koi Trash Panda says, what do you think the possibility of Stardom finally being in the mix of AEW, and who would you like to see? Keep up the good work and fire tweets. Thank you.
I think it's great. I've been wanting Stardom to have a part in Forbidden Door since the first year.
Yeah.
So I think that this is really good, and yeah, it's a lot of wrestlers I would like to see come over. I think Tam Nakano is one I keep saying that I would love to see Tam come over. And it's funny, Utami has already been over here. Utami's wrestled for Ring of Honor, but she has not been on AEW. She's another one I think she would kill it. Shuri's another one I really want to see over. Of course, Shuri has a relationship with Hikaru Shida. They used to be a tag team.
Yeah, we need that.
So there's a lot of them over there. I would love to see. I don't know what Stardom looks like in 2024, but there are a lot of wrestlers there that I still would like to see.
I keep forgetting that that's looming over our head. Of the Stardom is about to change. The whole fucking landscape of Stardom is going to change.
They have a show coming up during WrestleMania weekend. I don't know what that show's gonna look like.
It's crazy what's going on right now in wrestling, man. That Twin Blade says the Moné match, beat Mercedes and get $1,000. Yeah, exactly. Oh, for the stakes, like we were talking about earlier. That's really funny. Curtis Brooks says, get well soon, Jamie Hayter. Give me Jamie versus Mercedes. Jamie Hayter is one that we haven't even talked about that's in the mix when she comes back. That's a huge name. Still hasn't even hit her prime yet and can be a giant part of this division when she does return.
Yeah. Keith Dugo is right. Azumi as well. That's okay. Those are also Stardom wrestlers I would love to see over here. Hazuki, so many wrestlers.
And then Manwood Beer says, I feel like the Fed, derogatory, is trying to moneyball the current roster, and it's going to really hurt them in the next few years.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to pay your wrestlers, man. I mean, when there's another company that's offering big money, we've seen this happen before. You're gonna have to change how you pay your wrestlers. You can't just think the allure of wrestling at WrestleMania and like the vibes is gonna be the thing.
The vibes ain't enough no more, Phil.
It's not enough, man. When you
Nah,
got
we got vibes over here, bro. We got vibes.
well, you got another company that can offer a big contract and also something like wrestling in New York at Arthur Ashe or wrestling at Wembley Stadium, then it's a little different.
Wrestling once a week instead of whatever.
Yeah, the schedule is different.
Sometimes I'll be seeing Cody's schedule and I'm like, man, he making towns, but also, damn, Cody.
Big Code.
That fool's everywhere. That's all of our super chats for now. Appreciate y'all.
Last time
it's definitely a different draw of what they present over there and what they, the pros and cons list is a lot bigger than it used to be.
Yeah, for sure. See, we have a few more Humper Chats. Of course, you want to send us your Humper Chats again. HumperChats.com/Fightful. Got one from George Lugo. He says, for Grapsody, I enjoy watching you guys whenever I can. I was at Big Business when Mercedes came out. It was deafening. It was my first AEW show, and now trying to get tickets for the next one. I wish I would have been able to see Will, but I bet he was busy. Yeah, maybe he was. I don't know. He might have been meandering around the hallways.
Not being busy. Is eating ice cream.
I know. Who knows? He probably was busy.
Super busy. So busy.
From Black Phoenix brand, not wrestling related. You guys plan on checking out X-Men 97? I believe Marvel and Disney are missing out by not having the episodes come out on Saturday mornings. I've been watching the original series to get ready for it. So I am on season 4. So yeah, I'm definitely planning on watching it.
Yeah, I definitely want to check it out. Definitely nostalgic about it. You've been hearing about the creator of the writer dude that they fired? That was a party. You saw that little stuff? Like
I did see that. The rumor is that they fired him because he had OnlyFans.
Yes. I was like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah, I don't know how true that is, but I did see that.
Yeah. Some interesting stuff surrounding it. When is it dropping officially?
March 20th, I believe.
March 20th.
So a few days.
Nice.
But yeah, X-Men is a funny show, man. Like the dialogue is so funny. How often B says fascinating. He kind of says the same stock lines over and over again. Fascinating. Oh dear. Or it's funny, man. Some of Logan's like growls that he throws out are funny, man. I don't know why I laugh so hard at the Bishop episodes when I watched it this time. And he comes, he's got like the harmonica music behind him. It's just funny to me, man. And just the way he talks, and when he has to fight with Cable and he shoots him, he's like, "Yeah, this one for the future." What an odd show, but
what's that on Disney Plus?
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. We all love it because of nostalgia purposes, but there's so many things about it that I'm like, this show was kind of the first season that the animation's all over the place. Animation on this show in the first season did not age well.
Right.
But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to X-Men 97. I'm gonna check that out. Let's see, we've got. Oh, we have a lot more. I'm sorry. Let me scroll all the way to the top. From It's Really Brian. Usually can't watch live and listen to at work on Monday, so dropping in to show some love. So happy Mercedes is back on TV. Got to meet her at MegaCon in Orlando last year, and the love she has for her fans and wrestling is genuine. Don't F this up, TK. Yeah, I think it's so cool, the relationship she has with her fans. Her fans can be a bit much, but
we saw that this week.
Yeah, really, really cool. Really cool to see her interact with her fans. Really cool to see how excited people were for her. I think that was one of the most fun things about Wednesday, is just seeing how much fun people were talking about it. We're having, how excited people were about going to the show, like all of the stuff going on the timeline for her. It was just cool to see.
Yeah, I think it's seeing her fans, all the fans that say I'll never watch that show ever in my life, being like, I can't wait to watch this show and doing articles about it.
Yeah,
super interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. I've seen that too, but I just think it's funny that a lot of these anti-wrestling media folks always end up either doing a podcast or writing something.
Because they think they could do it better than the ones doing it is the thing, I think, right?
It's
Like,
just funny.
oh, you guys suck. I'll do it better myself. Yeah, all right.
It's just funny, but I find a lot of things funny. I'm kind of a goofy guy. I laugh at a lot of things. Corporal Rock, he says, idea for WrestleMania. Rock uses his power to relieve Priest of the briefcase, cashes in on Seth and Drew to become
Whoa,
champs.
hold on a minute.
Help of the Bloodline. Bloodline's too busy celebrating to help Roman, maybe. New Bloodline dynamic is Rock champ, Roman not. That sounds absolutely crazy.
Hold on a minute. We jumped all the way out the window with this one. I hope not. I would like to see The Rock use his power, but still in Damian Priest's briefcase. I can't.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
I do like the booking ideas, though.
That definitely sounds like some wild fantasy booking. From whoa. This name from from Kikuchi Kunt Okada.
Kikuchi Okada.
Don't get us in trouble for this name. But
Kikuchi Okada is hella funny.
What up, Grapsody? I don't think the Triple Crown is breaking up. I imagine whoever is carrying each belt at the time is automatically qualifying for the C2, and the belts reunite for the winner. Also, we're expanding those pools. The roster is too deep not to. Yeah, I don't think that Eddie is going to lose as easily as people assume on Wednesday. I'd be really surprised if he just drops the title to him.
Yeah, because people were up in arms when they announced that it's just for the Continental Championship. They're like, well, I thought it was the Triple Crown. And it's like, well, Okada fighting for a New Japan strong belt was kind of, that seems the way, right? I don't think that's, I don't think you can do that.
I mean, I wouldn't be upset at him being the new champion, but I don't think, like, I think there's still stuff they're doing, and we've got a match announced for Ring of Honor as well, don't we?
Yep.
Got the
Eddie Kingston versus Mark Briscoe for the Ring of Honor Championship.
Yeah,
should be dope. The Ring of Honor card is shaping up pretty dope already. But yeah, people are like, oh, Eddie Kingston's going to lose the belt to Okada, then he's going to lose to Mark Briscoe, then he's going to lose to Gabe Kidd. All his belts are going to be gone. I'm like, well, how do you guys know?
How you know?
How you know?
Yeah, but that I am very excited for being in the building for Sheeta versus Athena. It seems like we always find a way to be in the building for a fire match during WrestleMania.
We do.
This is our third year in a row of going Super Card of Honor together, and getting heat again.
That's gonna be insane, man. Wow, Sheeta versus Athena. That's I have thoughts, and I'll talk about it a lot going into the show. But that's gonna be insane. Very excited about that.
Very, very excited about that match. Nelson Muntz says, give me LF5 versus Bullet Club Gold. Give me a massive break from Jericho and FTR on AEW TV. Give me Cody losing again at Mania. Give me that MIB device to erase part of my memory because someone posted Bully Ray's clips from TNA on my timeline that legit hurt my eyes. Yeah. I don't know, man. FTR, they've been all right. The match has been good. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not mad at anything that they've done recently.
I think the matches have been hidden, so the online stuff isn't for everybody. I get that part, but I think the matches have been good.
Some people probably think that about us. Every time somebody says LFI, I think they're gonna say LFO like that band. I like girls that wear Abercrombie and Fitch. Was that LFO?
I think so. There's definitely people that think that way about us. Like,
totally.
I ain't feeling the tweets, man.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
Cool. Yeah, it'd be like that, man.
It's like that.
It's like that. From Tony P says, last thing, I don't know about her WWE legend status, but over and under on we see Beth Copeland help against Mother Wayne next Wednesday. I don't know. But,
yeah, I don't know.
But I've been saying this since Copeland came over. Is Beth busy, man? Like, bruh, there's so many matches I would love to see Beth take part in AEW. Beth versus Statlander is something I need in my life. That match would hit. There's so many things, and you have all of the wrestlers that are coming over. You've got Megan Bain coming back. You've got
Beth and Megan.
Bro, Beth, what you doing, man? Like, you busy?
Are you busy?
You're not commentating no more. Like, what else you got going on over there?
Them WWE contracts though, she might be locked up at something pretty good.
She could be, but I would love to see Beth. I don't think we'll see her in Toronto, but I would love to see her come over and wrestle because I think she is extremely underrated. I think she's one of those that she kind of came up in a wrong era as well, where
Totally.
if she was in like the modern era, she would be way more respected.
If she was
than
here
she
now
is.
or 10 years after she was
Yeah.
doing her thing, it'd be way different. Her and Sarah Del Rey. Shout out to Sarah Del Rey, who never got her, or Sarah Amato, as her real name is, who never got that opportunity, who I think is the same thing. And cheerleader Melissa, I could name like a million of them that were like a little bit before their time. And if they had came 20 years later, man, like imagine if Gail Kim came up in her prime
Yeah.
right now, like how amazing she would be. You know what I mean? Like they did a bunch of amazing things at the time, but like if they're a few years after that, it'd be so different.
Totally different. Last humper chat from Black Phoenix brand. Last random humper. WWE missed an opportunity last night. They should have found some way to get Trick Williams on that show. The whoop that trick chant would have been massive. Yeah, I think we should have seen him in some way. That would have been cool, but it is what it is. I think he's in a really good spot. That guy is very, very over, man. Every time I see the reactions to him, I'm just amazed by it. That's great for him.
Yeah, again, it's like when Trick and Mello are coming up, it's like I think maybe Mello's gonna be there, but Trick just came out of nowhere to be like over as hell, and it's been pretty amazing to see. Yeah, maybe they were just like all the black people. We don't want them to be in Memphis. Oh, The Rock was there for a long time.
Yeah, that is all of our humper chats. Got a little bit of New Japan talk when we talked about Mercedes, but they've got a tournament going on, so might as well jump into it. There was
not been happy about it. I'll tell you that.
There was an edition of the New Japan Cup this morning, and I did watch it. I've been watching. I've been up, so I've been watching almost every one. I think I've only missed one in the two main events for it, were not matches I really was that enthused about anyway. So I was like, I can miss it. But in spite of the booking decisions that I'm kind of not a fan of, or the prevalent House of Torture stuff that we keep getting for reasons that I don't understand, there have been good matches here. Last time we sat down and talked about it, I was confused as to why Chase Owens beat Ishii and moved on to face Hikuleo. Still don't really understand that. But
yeah, I was gonna say, do you have did you figure it out? No, you never figured it out. Yeah.
No, I still don't know why we did that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why we did that.
Yeah.
But since then, we did get Yota Tsuji trying to single-handedly save this tournament. He had a fire match with Jeff Cobb. Really, really good match. Again, I cannot sit here and recommend this entire tournament, but there are specific matches that I think if you go back and go, hey, that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yota Tsuji versus Jeff Cobb. It's one of the best matches of the tournament so far. Okay. I've been saying since El Phantasmo turned heel, babyface, that he's going to be a future star in this company. He's been really, really great in this tournament as well.
Definitely.
He had a good match in the first round with Mikey Nichols, but he went on and had an even better match with Tsuji in the second round. Very, very good match. Get a chance to look that one up.
Mm-hmm.
Also good match.
I've heard that Shingo's had a couple of bangers in here too.
Shingo had a great match in the first round we talked about last week. Match with Yuya Uemura was fantastic. He had a great match with Gabe Kidd this week. Well, was pretty much what you'd expect from a Gabe Kidd and Shingo match. Just two big guys hitting each other very hard, throwing each other into things. Of course, Shingo Takagi came out top and beat Gabe Kidd to move on to the quarterfinals. We got the Hiroki and Chase Owens match that wasn't enthused about. Goto moved on to the next round into the quarterfinals.
Thank God.
And he was supposed to face Finlay this morning. Finlay had an illness, and so he was forced to forfeit his spot. He's officially out of the New Japan Cup.
Oh, damn.
So, yeah, he had to miss his match tonight, so he had to forfeit his match. Goto did not have a match today, so Goto will move on to semifinals. We got Jack Perry taking on Toru Yano, which wasn't nearly as fun as I thought it would be, but, it's Jack in Japan. He got a rematch for Forbidden Door because Sonata took on Yoshihashi in the second round in a very fun match. If not nearly as good as I thought it was going to be. Like when I was going into this, I was like, I don't know, Sonata Yoshihashi. But this was actually a lot of fun. Go figure. Sonata won his match and he moved on and he faced Jack Perry this morning in a rematch for Forbidden Door. Of course, the story going into this is Jack was still upset because he remembers Sonata trying to embarrass him when the match was announced and saying, Jack Perry, who's that? I don't even know who that guy is. And then, of course, the story was that was the first time that year that the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship was not in the main event. But they did get the main event on the show today, and the match was better. I thought it was a better match than their match at Forbidden Door, but of course we did get the House of Torture shenanigans in it.
House of Torture.
It was a moderately better match. I think the storytelling stuff was good. I think the promo that Jack cut before this match was good. I really loved Jack coming in and demanding a mic before the match started. And as soon as Sonata comes down, he's like, look me in my eyes. Get in here. Look me in my eyes. And Sonata's just kind of looking around like, I don't even know what this guy's saying. He looked very confused throughout the entire promo. It was very funny to me. But the match itself was fine. We got the House of Torture shenanigans. But Sonata did win. He's going to move on to the semifinals to face Hiroki Goto. The Evil, of course, is still in. Evil faced Hikuleo in the quarterfinals. He's going to face Shingo Takagi in the semifinals. On the other end, we got Ren Narita taking on Zack Sabre Jr. in what was a pretty good technical match for the beginning of it. They fooled us. They sent all the House of Torture guys in the back. We thought it was going to be a clean match. Nope. Still House of Torture stuff at the end of the match. Ren Narita still won with the push-up bar. He's going to move on to the semifinals to face Yota Tsuji. So that's kind of our semifinals so far. If you were taking notes, there were 3 House of Torture guys in the quarterfinals. Jack was the first one to lose. Evil's still in there. Ren Narita's still in there. So out of our guys so far, there's still 2 House of Torture guys remaining. But
not all the way clear yet.
Not all the way in the clear, but I do think the stuff that they're doing so far with Tsuji and Shingo is good. They're kind of telling a story about how Shingo and Tsuji want to be the guys to make it to the finals, to have 2 LIJ guys in there, and one of them will eventually go on to face Naito. And I think that stuff is cool. I think they've definitely been a standout to the tournament this year. I still think Shingo should be the guy that wins. Yeah. Hassan, I really like Ren Narita as well. I just don't know why he's in that faction. I just don't know why he's there. There are a bunch of guys in House of Torture that I really like. Show is phenomenal. Great junior heavyweight. Don't know why he's there either.
That shenanigans ass faction just keeps muddying everything up. I mean, they get people talking, but I don't know if it's in the best way.
Yeah. But so far so good. That is our New Japan recap. I've tried to enjoy the bits of it that are good, because the bits of it that are good are a lot of fun, but the bits of it that aren't good, they are just not for me. I mean, I don't want to act like the House of Torture stuff is the worst thing in the world. I've just grown so tired of it. I just got real fatigue of the shenanigans. And it's just crazy how they fucking interfere in every match, because it's not like, all right, well, this is happening, and then Dick Togo will come down and like try and do the wire joint. No, they're sending their entire faction down. They're like 5 guys trying to get in the ring, and like it's just like, just throw them out, ref. Like, what are you doing? Just get these guys out of here.
It's really funny. It just keeps happening, and fans are not like, it's not the good heat of like, we hate this, we want these guys to lose. It's the go away heat of like, get this shit off of my TV. And I don't know if that's what you want.
And the thing is, they do get good heat at the shows, so they do get booed, but it's just not entertaining to see the same interference and stuff over and over and over again. But yeah, so far so good. I think Sonata versus Goto is gonna over deliver. I think Sonata is over delivered in most of his matches so far. I think he's gotten a bad rep since the title run. but he's not a bad wrestler. I just
No.
think that the character stuff has been a bit bland. I think he's slowly starting to win the crowd over more and more. He's doing this cool thing at the end of shows when he wins now, where he'll have them cut the lights down and everybody will take their phones out and light up the entire arena. It's kind of cool, and he's getting back to getting popular again. It's just that the Just Five Guys stuff didn't really do it. It didn't really help him. But coming out of this, I am very much excited to see what they do with Yuya. I think Yuya is a guy to be excited about coming out of that stable. There are a lot of guys to look at coming out of this that I'm excited to see what they do going forward, but just make some better decisions, Gato, man. What are you doing, man? What are you doing?
He's making a lot of wild decisions out there. It's tough though. So it's a tough time. He's lost a lot of his top guys, and he has to
He's got to build some guys back up.
rebuild. Yeah.
And he's got guys that he can build up. You've got Shota Umino, you've got Ren Narita, you've got Tsuji, you've got Yuya, you've got Shingo. You've got a lot of guys that you can do something with. I just don't understand why House of Torture is just so prevalent on it. I just don't get it. But
He likes it.
I guess. But yeah. Take what you will. I'm sure some people will look around like, I don't know if I want to watch this New Japan stuff, but a lot of the tournament has been fun. The good matches have been good there. I feel like there have been more good or solid matches than there are bad ones, to be honest.
Right. And I think that's a good sign. I've heard a lot of good things about a lot of matches on this beyond the House of Torture stuff. So they're doing something. It's not all the bad booking.
Yeah. I agree. Autistic Weirdo. Doki is great. I saw Doki last year at Wintrust. He wrestled Jack on the card in the lead up to Forbidden Door. Really, really good match. Not for nothing, Jack has been great in the matches he's in. It's just that, it's just so marred by the House of Torture stuff. I think the character stuff that he's developing is helping him. I think when he does come back over, he's going to be in a better position. He has managed to blend in with the House of Torture guys seamlessly. He does work over there. I do think that, like Jay White, he picked up the right directive of, he can't come out looking too pretty and too clean. Coming out with the scruffy beard and looking like he has a little bit of edge to him helps. I still think he can be a good heel.
Right.
I just think that it could have gone in a better direction with AEW before the stuff at All In happened, and then he was off TV for a long time. But I think he's good at working a crowd. That was the one thing I was not worried about with him as a heel. Whatever you may think of him as a promo guy or whatever, he was very good at working a crowd as a heel, and he still can do that very well. Judging by the New Japan stuff, it's just the promo stuff, and based on the promos I've seen him cut in New Japan, he's gotten a bit better.
Yeah, I think Jack could really work. That was not the thing. It was always the character and him fleshing out like a real live character beyond the Jungle Boy stuff. Like, well, what is Jack Perry? Who does he represent? The scapegoat thing, I'm still a little bit on the fence with.
Yeah,
I don't really know. I'm not
really
super interested in it. But I think, like you're saying, I think the promos that I've seen from him, the post-match ones, have been really good and really focused and like really passionate. Like he's getting better at that aspect for sure.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see what his match is going to be at Windy City Riot and what he's going to do when he eventually comes over. He had a pretty solid run here in the New Japan Cup. He racked up 3 wins before he ended up losing to Sonata. So I don't know what that means for him moving forward, but
him joining the EVPs and Okada just makes the most sense, right?
I think that's coming. I mean, when you look at him wrestle over there, he uses super kicks. He already used super kicks, but I was just watching him. I think the name of his finisher is really cool. The glass jaw knee strike. It's just a cool name for a knee strike.
Real glass jaw knee strike. I like it.
Yeah, glass jaw knee strike is a cool name for a finisher. I like that, and he hits that. He makes that knee strike look crisp. Like I've never been worried about him in ring. He's a great wrestler.
Yeah, he has been for a long time.
Yeah. So, but yeah, got semifinals coming up. Finals coming up. I believe the final for New Japan Cup are next week. But yeah.
Coming up, we got a few more super chats before we move forward to our last thing. I think. Delayed Grat says, "Keep up the great work. This is one of my favorite shows. Do you guys think the Booker CM Punk almost fight is real or just Booker trolling?" I think we got. Do we get into it on Ask Grapsody of like? There's some history we know.
Definitely
CM Punk has definitely talked. They both really talked bad or talk something about each other in a public light. So I think it's a moment of like CM Punk really feels a way about Booker T, and Booker T just like, oh yeah, no, we cool, we chill. Like he thinks all of this is like a water under the bridge joke type thing is what it feels like. Because it sounds like he's like they had an interaction before, and CM Punk was like, "You're a fucking bootlicker, dude. Relax." And then Booker T was like, "Oh, you're funny." And then he tried to again be like, "What's up, Punk?" And Punk's like, "I thought we already talked about this, dude. We're not chill here."
I think the funny thing about this is he spoke very negatively about Punk before he came back there.
Yeah.
And then he flip-flopped and he was very positive about him. And he told the story on his podcast about how Punk called him a flip-flopper to his face. And now he's on the podcast flip-flopping. Like he's just flip-flopping again.
He flip-flopped about the flip-flopping thing. It's like you can't make this up at this point, bro.
So I definitely think some of it is just Booker being Booker and trying to get attention on the podcast. But I wouldn't be surprised if he had a negative interaction with him.
Totally. Like Booker's definitely putting something on it, but I can see it's probably from something.
Yeah, I mean, it's Punk.
And
Punk is gonna tell you what he thinks. He's a straight shooter.
Right. Will Chisholm says, "What's up with Booker fake trying to start drama with Punk?" Yeah, I don't really understand why he did all that and was like, "Why are you guys so crazy about this?" It's just so funny.
I don't get it.
Mm-hmm. And then our friend Aaron Busby says, "It's wild how great wrestling as a whole has become since Vinnie Mac got stripped of power. Him being in control really kept the business back. Fans still have PTSD of dark times." I mean, they just announced WWE. Shayna Baszler's going to be a part of Bloodsport and the Collective. Like that would never have been a thing for previous regimes, you know? So many little things like that are like, this never would have happened before. What are you laughing at?
A-Shock said at this point, Booker should create a pancake business.
That's so silly.
Booker flapjacks, baby.
Straight up. Just flipping and spinning. That's it. Booker T's a real flipper and spinner over here.
You want to get those flapjacks to get you right? Pour some syrup all on top of it. Spin it around like Spinner Rudy. Come on over to Booker Flapjacks.
Oh, shit. You want... Everybody having Booker voices.
Booker's gonna be so bad. It doesn't be seen.
Yeah, he's gonna hate us after this pod. I did a Booker invitation earlier. Now you this. He's like, no, these niggas are out of here. Oh my god. Yeah, no, Booker is just like I said. That's just the big unk. I think we just need to like laugh about it. You know.
No, all of this is very funny, man. It's not that serious.
But no, address the reality of wrestling shit though. For real, Booker T. You are listening.
Yeah, please.
I'm tired of it. That's everything. Appreciate y'all for submitting super chats, humper chats, any contribution. Y'all are the dopest.
Buttery golden brown.
Booker T's flapjacks as well.
Hilarious, man. We got a pretty good episode of Monday Night Raw this week. I think for the first time in a long time, I've watched it. And I was like, man, this breezed through. This didn't feel like the slog.
It's still 3 hours?
Still 3 hours, man. You're still getting the 3 hours.
Okay.
Make no mistake about it. You're still getting the 3 hours. But it didn't feel like the slog that it used to be. I thought there was a lot of stuff that worked here. I thought the Liv Becky match was really good. Way better than I expected it to be. Go figure. I think, again, people be talking crazy about Becky sometimes.
They do.
Becky brings out good performances out of people, and I think Liv showed that she's a lot better than people think. I don't know. Nia continues to be one of the best best additions to the women's division since she's been back. She's been a great
Definitely.
character. And yeah, they're kicking it up in overdrive with the Rhea and Becky stuff. But the Gauntlet match, that was the story from Raw for the most part.
Yep.
That was the thing most of us talked about. I thought the Gauntlet was very good.
I watched it.
I mean, gauntlets are kind of a cheat code. Like, when's the last time you've
Yeah.
seen a gauntlet match that wasn't good?
They've gotten really good, specifically in WWE, at booking them and get that Iron Man and the Gauntlet thing. They're really good at that gimmick.
Yeah, I thought Ricochet came out straight away and he looked great. Wrestled like House of Fire, came out, did the big spots, did the big flippy doos. It's Ricochet. He somebody asked him to do a flip out in the parking lot, and he was like, "Nah, why not? I
It's
got my
not
girl
just
with
in
me.
the ring, bro. Like, he will do one in the parking lot if you're good.
Nah, I got my girl with me. We're good. I'm happy. I'm doing flips. What's up?"
Listen, if I'm walking with Samantha Irvin, I might bust out a random flip too. Like,
looks
life is at a good point if you're doing that, you know.
He looks like he's in a good place, man. Looks like he's a happy person, man. She's putting out her thirst traps and letting people know why he's so happy as well.
And then singing amazingly, like, no, Ricochet know what time it is. He like, nah, we living good out here.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ricochet.
Shout out to Ricochet. Yeah, I thought Ricochet looked great. Man, even JD McDonough. This was the best I think JD's looked in a long time. He looked great in this as well. Bronson looked like a threat. Shinsuke looked like he was basically there to just be like a threat and take the pin. But he looked good in the spots he was in. I thought overall it was a really good gauntlet match.
What you think about, before we finish this up, Bronson going so hard on trying to get a WrestleMania match? Like, he's on Twitter every day being like, we need to have a meat match. And it's like, I don't know if this is the way to go about it.
I get it.
I get it. Yeah, I guess. Maybe if he's more visible, they'll think about it.
Yeah, but I also think that's, again, the company, because he should have something. He's been back for 2 years now. He should have something going into WrestleMania. He should have some kind of feud. I just don't get it. Like that when you got somebody that good and he's somebody that has a great look.
He's knocked it out of the park every position he's been put in too.
Yeah, and he didn't get a spot in Perth. He didn't get to wrestle Elimination Chamber. So I get it. I get that he is probably feeling like, I want to get out there and show people what I can do. And he looked good in this gauntlet match. So I get it. But yeah, the story, the two favorites to win this match that everybody expected was Sami Zayn, Chad Gable. Of course, Sami Zayn was coming into this with the storyline that he's looking to avenge his loss to Roman Reigns last year. It sure seemed like they were positioning him as somebody that's going to challenge for a world title based off this storyline.
Yep.
So I didn't immediately think Gunther until he confronted Gunther backstage a few weeks ago. And so, I was like, that's a good way for him to get on the card. That's a good way for him to kind of have the next best thing to beating Roman, beating the other guy that has an undefeated streak and a dominant title run. Sure. But they've been telling such a good story with Chad Gable. And I think when we talked about it a few weeks ago, I was talking about how they've turned it into the catchphrase and they did the video package and everything. And that's kind of how you can usually see when they're getting behind something and they want the fans to. And so, boy, was I surprised with Chad Gable, who lost this match. I thought for sure he was going to win. Now, given the way that they were building the structure of this match and they were putting Sami through the paces and he had to do all of this to win the match, I was like, it looks like this is kind of like the story to tell in this match is that Sami's going to overcome all of this to win. But I still was sitting there like, well, I think Chad got a good chance to winning this. So when he just lost, I was just like, oh, okay. And he had a really good backstage segment afterwards that kind of drove home the point. And even after watching the interview, I was still looking around like, maybe he should have just won. Yeah. Because they had a good story here. And not to say that I think that this is a bad decision for Sami, because I do think that this is a good move for Sami. I do think him versus Gunther is going to be a good match. But But I just think it would have been a more rewarding storyline for Gable to win. I think Gable versus Gunther. I mean, he said himself, it just means more. He already had the feud coming out last year. He had stuff with his daughter. You already built up so much investment around it. This was kind of a head scratcher for me. I was like, oh, he really lost.
Yeah, I was with this. I was super confused, Phil, because I didn't watch Raw on Monday because it was my birthday. I was working on this album. If you guys haven't heard International Boulevard, definitely go to retrovision.bandcamp.com and listen to that. And so, like, it was maybe the next day, and I was on the internet. And then I saw the Booker T thing at first. Booker T says that Sami Zayn was mad. I'm like, why is Booker T talking for Sami Zayn? What's going on here? And so initially I was like, oh shit, Sami Zayn won. That's interesting. I'm confused. I didn't really understand. So I went back and watched the match and I was like, okay, really great match. Like when Sam and Chad got in there, they fucking tore it up. Like the false finishes, near falls, all that. Really great. Good. But I'm like, coming into this match, Chad Gable has been saying every week, I need revenge for you making my daughter cry. I'm going to take the smile off of the smug smile off your face, Gunther, and put it onto my daughters. The only story is me going to that show, winning that belt, and making my daughter proud. Like, this is what they set us up with, Phil. They primed us into this. And then he lost, and I was like, wait. Well, why did you guys tell us that Chad Gable's the guy and then not give us the thing? Like, you gave us this story, you prepped us, you primed us. Like, I was in on it. I'm like, okay, I love Sami Zayn. He's one of my favorite WWE superstars. Like, him having a big WrestleMania moment is awesome. But you told everybody that Chad Gable was going to be the one. Everybody coming in was like, I think Chad Gable should beat Gunther. It tells the best story. It's going to put him over. It's going to do all this. So I was just really confused as to what the result was. But again, it's so funny how this all happens because when I initially saw the Booker T thing, I'm like, just 1 year ago, people wanted this guy to be the world champion. Like they were saying he should beat Roman. He should be the one to beat the bloodline. Sami Zayn's the one. And this year they're mad that he's going to have a match at WrestleMania. I'm like, you just can't win. But then it's also Booker T was just talking.
Yeah, I think that people aren't upset at Sami getting the match and like the possibility of what the match could be. Because again, I think the match is going to be good,
of course.
But you've got us so invested in the Gable thing. You've told you've given us all a hint that was the story.
Fans invested. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So I mean, I've seen people say that Sami's shoulders weren't on the mat, so maybe it's not finished. Maybe they're gonna go back to it on Monday, but.
Please don't do a triple threat match. I hate that.
If you make this a triple threat match, I just think that this is kind of a lose-lose situation because then what are you going to do? Are you going to do the finish where Sami gets pinned and Gunther loses the title because he didn't get pinned? I wouldn't be upset about that. But then again, now you're handing Sami another loss. Like, why?
Gunther needs to be beat. There needs to be a one-on-one match, and Gunther needs to be beat for that belt because that's the prestige. That's the accolade that goes into it. Gunther had this long-ass run, and if he loses it in a fluke, I hate it. That is how WWE usually functions because they like to keep their guys hot going into whatever their next thing is. But that would just be really unfortunate.
Yeah,
especially thinking about the matches that Gunther's had to lose his UK championship and the the NXT. Those matches were so big and final and great, and that's the way to get the belt off of him, not having some fluke pin.
Yeah, I agree. What that was supposed to do for Dragunov when he beat him,
right?
That should be the same thing we're looking at here.
Exactly.
If it's Gable beating him or Sami beating him, they should get that same kind of win. I don't think you should just have them pin somebody else to win that belt.
I hate it.
But
and did they just announce another? There's too many. I don't want to have too many wrestler matches. Like the tag title match is going to be awesome, the ladder match and everything. But I don't want it to just be like, all right, we have too many guys, so every match is a multi-person match because that gets boring.
Yeah, the United States match is also going to be a triple.
That's what I was thinking of the triple.
It's going to be Logan Paul taking on Randy Orton and Kevin Owens.
Right, and you don't want to do that and a triple threat match on the Intercontinental thing. I guess you could, but like, don't.
Yeah, I've been saying all along I would prefer to see Sami get added to the World Heavyweight Championship match.
If we are doing the triple threat match,
I thought that was the way that this was going. I thought that Sami was probably going to lose here, and he was going to find a way to get added to the World Heavyweight title match.
Right.
And Gable was going to get the IC title match. So I was getting very shocked that Chad Gable lost here. And, maybe this means that Gunther's going to win at WrestleMania, and you can still go back to the Chad Gable stuff, but I don't know, man. It just feels like you had the WrestleMania moment right there for Chad Gable. Why didn't you just do that?
Let's do it.
And even if we're doing it with Sami and Sami gets the win here, cool. But then what are you doing with Chad after this? Why did you
Who does he beat now?
Why did you make a point to make this the big storyline for him, and you're not gonna give it a satisfying conclusion?
Now, if we do a triple threat match and Chad Gable ends up beating Gunther, pinning him, I wouldn't be mad at that. And Sami doesn't get pinned, but I don't want that.
Yeah, I can see
it.
I still think that Sami's big title win should be a world title win.
Same. He was already. Didn't Gunther beat him to win? Who did Gunther beat to win the belt? Him or Shinsuke? Right? Like, wasn't this whole thing attached to that?
I believe it was Shinsuke.
Was it Shin? It was either Shin or Sami. I knew they were feuding for it right before Gunther. I think it was Shin though. Now thinking about it. But like, no, I don't want to see Sam win the Intercontinental Championship again. Like,
no, it's Ricochet.
Was it Ricochet? I can't remember. But
it's Ricochet.
It's been a long ass time at this moment.
That's what the chat's saying now too. It was Ricochet.
I didn't even know Ricochet was Intercontinental Champion.
No, he was a Fire Champion. Remember, he had the matches with Gunther that year. He won.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Gunther beat his ass.
Ricochet is the one that beat Sami, I believe.
But yeah, I don't want to see Sami go back after that. That didn't even make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to say that this is like there's no bad way to do this, but it is kind of a catch-22 because I do feel like we were thinking that they were going to eventually elevate Sami up to the world title scene. Exactly. So just putting him back in the IC title picture was just kind of like, oh, okay. And I do think it's going to be a big moment if he beats Gunther, but I just think it would have been more rewarding if Gable did. And I know people are going to say, well, Sami's the bigger star. He sells more merch, blah, 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 blah. But I actually think that the thing that made Gable's run feud with Gunther work is Gunther's whole point is he doesn't care about any of that stuff. He doesn't care about characters. He doesn't care about money. His whole story is that the ring is sacred here. I respect people who are good wrestlers. You don't get much better than a former Olympian in Chad Gable. And so I think the story would always be that Chad Gable, for his size, was somebody that he didn't take seriously, but he's a good wrestler. And eventually, if he beat him, he'd have no choice but to gain his respect.
Exactly.
And so I don't think the star power thing really should factor in here. I think the story is Chad Gable's really good at wrestling.
I think the bigger story and the bigger win needs to be for Chad Gable because we already, like, Sam's already established. And I think beating Gunther is an accolade in itself, even bigger than the belt. And that needs to go to Chad Gable. Like, Sami Zayn doesn't need that win. Like, he needs a big win, but he needs a world title win. He doesn't need to be beating Gunther. Like, it just makes way more sense for Chad Gable to win in this point. Like, I don't really understand how we got here.
And I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad if Sami wins here and he's the one that ends Gunther's run. But I think it just would have been a little bit more rewarding. It'd been more satisfying if it was Gable that got that win, because he's not gonna get that kind of moment.
Exactly.
Again, and I think him getting that at WrestleMania is probably going to be a career highlight. Not even probably. That's a career highlight for him. That's going to be the thing that puts him on the map. Even if he goes on to have like a pretty decent run with the belt and loses it in a few months, that win, that's going to be the thing that
big win
that puts him in all of the video packages and puts his name in history book.
That's what I'm talking about. Sami Zayn doesn't need that. He already has that. Last year we saw him in one of the best matches of all time in the main event of night one. Like, he already has that. Like, this is a Chad Gable for his accolades, for his history. Getting this win makes more sense. Like you said, they could do the shoulder thing. This could be a fluke. They could change it, but I that also kind of sucks too.
Yeah, because it kind of feels like why we do the gauntlet match if you're just gonna put both of them in
Yeah,
a
what's the
match.
point of the gauntlet match if you're gonna?
Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised because it's WWE if this just turns into a triple threat match. Would not be shocked
Right.
by that at all.
0%.
And you know what? I wouldn't be too upset about it as long as this doesn't just end with some goofiness like Chad Gable pinning Sami Zayn or Sami Zayn pinning Gable, and that's how they win the belt. I think as long as if you put Chad Gable in the match, I feel like Chad Gable should win.
That's all I'm saying. And I feel like if anybody's in the match with Gunther, it's his time to lose that belt too. So don't have, the only option is a match with Gunther and Gunther gets pinned for that belt for me.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, even if Sammy's in the match and he doesn't get pinned and he can come out of this and say he still fell short, there's a good story there. I still think there's a story of Gunther moving up to the world title picture as well. But yeah, why do they make everything so complicated? Why do they have to make everything harder?
Make things so complicated. I see. That's WWE. That's what they do. They like to take the wrong, like there's a short road right here. If you just walk forward, you're there. They're like, now let's take the long way all the way around.
We gotta take that wrong turn at Albuquerque and go all over the place. Just go straight. It's right there.
You're supposed to go left, dude. No, we're going right. We're going right.
No,
it's
right
go left though. Nope. We're going right. Will Chisholm has our last super chat of the day. He says, how many times Gunther Mania match change? We thought it would be him versus Seth. Then, but yeah, that was a thing for a minute. Then Punk came back, but then it was Gunther versus Brock. That was a thing for a minute. And we know what happened to that. Now it's Sami. Yeah. Gunther's had a wild trajectory of WrestleMania matches. Ugh.
He's just basically like, I'll wrestle anybody. Looks like
honestly. It plays into his character pretty much, right? He's like, no, I'm just going to show up. I'll beat anybody's ass who's on the other side of it. It's pretty easy.
Yes.
Thank you, Will Chisholm, for all of your support. Thanks, everybody, for the super chats. Thanks, everybody, for the humper chats.
We got 2 more humper chats here. We got one from Tyrone Kid. It says, hey Graps, happy Stone Cold Day. In celebration, what's your favorite Stone Cold moment? And why is it the supermarket fight with Booker? Also, since Shayna is fighting at Bloodsport, who is she facing? Suzuki, please. And who else from the E is coming?
Fun fact, the supermarket fight happened in Bakersfield, California, Green Frog Market. I was at that SmackDown in Bakersfield, and I have been to that Green Frog, which is now closed, but that is a fun fact that happened in Bakersfield. I have a lot of favorite Stone Cold moments. I think WrestleMania 13 against Bret Hart is the second best WWE match of all time. First is Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. The return, the night that Mick Foley beat The Rock, when Stone Cold comes out to help him, that's one of the craziest pops of all time. Like, people are going mental. That might be it. Just that return and people being like, oh my God, we cannot believe that Stone Cold's here.
Yeah, just to say something different. You don't get much cooler than him walking up the steps after he won King of the Ring, talking hella shit, and of course giving the iconic line, Austin 3:16 says, "I just whooped your ass."
What a day of him just like having those matches, walking up there looking like the baddest motherfucker in the world, and then doing that promo. Like, he was destined for greatness, honestly.
Just incredible moment for him. I mean, of course, other things like the milk truck, a bunch of the stuff we've seen to death because they play it constantly. But man, just that moment, the star-making moment of him winning King of the Ring and cutting that promo, man, so damn cool.
Yeah, 316 day. And what was the rest of it?
He also
who's Shayna? Who else do we think is going to come from WWE to the thing? I mean, if Chad Gable's not mixed up in all this, he'd be pretty hot over there too, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody other than Shayna is going. And who is Shayna facing? I think, man, if it's the Masha match, I'm here for that. If it's the Suzuki match, I'd be here for that too.
Also fire. You think that maybe they just go with her against another WWE person? It'd be boring as hell, but you know, sometimes
don't do that.
Right. Like the draw is you against somebody else, mixing up different talents and stuff. So
Nah, don't do that. Give her an actual like indie match over there.
Masha or Suzuki is definitely the one. Or Speedball. I don't know if we're doing intergender matches. Like, what's up?
Something, man. You got a few options with her over there.
Mhm.
Anybody else that I could see coming from the E over there?
I'm trying to think who was working during the Raw Underground stuff, because that's essentially what it is.
They sending Dabakato?
They might. Like, get the homie from catering. He's back.
Somebody else from over there.
Omos
would be an interesting shout. So people are, man, if she went over there and wrestled Marina Shafir, that would be very interesting.
Marina's gonna be on the show, I think.
Yeah, that would be cool. Her versus Marina.
Mm-hmm. That honestly might be what they do if thinking about it. That makes the most sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I want to say it's boring, but it's like the most boring choice because like they're friends. Of course they would have this,
Yeah. According to PW Insider, there will be other WWE stars that go over there. So maybe, I don't know. I think there are a few guys like my all out of left field pick that is not going to happen because this guy is their champion, but Ilya Dragunov on a Bloodsport show.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
That sounds really crazy, but
yeah, they would never.
He's the champion. Like, well, you can't just send this guy over there to do that and possibly get hurt that weekend. No,
they're gonna have like Ricochet or somebody like in that level.
Ricochet at Bloodsport?
Why not? Would be kind of fun.
It'd be fun, but yeah. Dragunov is like my
Dragunov is probably the dream one, huh? That'd be sick.
Yeah, maybe they're gonna send Regal's son over there. They sent him, but he makes sense over there as well.
Yeah, that could work.
I'm trying to think anybody else off the main roster. I mean, the guy that a year ago that they would have sent that's not there no more. Matt Riddle would have been the guy.
Ooh, they definitely would have sent him.
Yeah. I definitely would have sent him on over there.
I was gonna say Nick Nemeth, but I think he's actually on the show already.
Yeah, I'm sure he's doing something during WrestleMania weekend.
I think he might be wrestling Speedball Mike Bailey on that show.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. That might be a banger.
Yeah, totally.
Well, speaking of Nick Nemeth, Nelson Munt says Nick Nemeth speaking true facts about Cody's storyline and shocking LaGreca while wearing an American Nightmare hoodie was really entertaining. By the way, Phil, you missed one of my super chats. Did we miss one of your super chats?
I thought you read it. You read one from Nelson earlier.
Here, let me scroll through and see.
Oh yeah, but that clip was funny though of Dolph or Nick being like, "Oh, he's a Nepo baby. Of course he got this." Blah blah blah. But it's all in. I think they're cool, so it's all in like.
No, I think it's. He said in jest, but it was funny. It was funny watching LaGreca get all excited about it. Like, what do you mean? What are you saying?
Mm-hmm.
I only see the.
Yeah, I thought you had read it.
I only see the two from you, Nelson Muntz. I read the other one earlier. I don't see another one, buddy. Am I blind? I don't see another one from you, buddy. No, if it was a super chat,
I think we got it.
That would have been on Regicide anyway.
Yeah, if not, like, we'll get it.
But I know usually Nelson sends us the Humper Chats.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it. If you're talking about your one what that started with the LFI stuff, I read that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we read it.
I think we got you, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate you, Nelson.
But yeah, no, the Nick Nemeth stuff was funny.
Well, Chisholm says Busted Open really taking that Rock promo to heart. Yeah, everything kind of connected to Busted Open. Dave LaGreca is like angry.
record coming out with the dog that's now named after Cody as well. I'm just like, okay.
Interesting take, brother.
It's a lot going on, man.
It's a lot going on. That's everything.
That is all our Humper Chats. That is all of
Mhm.
our Super Chats. Appreciate you guys as always. Trying to make sure that nobody throws. Hey, you didn't get this one. Gonna hit one last reload. But I think that we got all of them. It's all of our Humper Chats. Appreciate you guys as always. Please be careful on these streets. Don't go crashing out on these Twitter streets with people.
Straight up.
Don't get on here arguing with people. It's just wrestling. It's supposed to be fun. It's okay to sometimes see something as stupid and say in your head, this is stupid, or tweet to somebody, or send it to somebody to text, hey, this is stupid, and then move on. You don't have to get out here and argue with people. Don't be weird.
Please don't be weird.
Don't be weird. Just
please be normal. Please go outside sometimes. Please eat a sandwich. Please drink some water. And please go and listen to International Boulevard on righteousreg.bandcamp.com. Just put out a video, Sway and Flex, if you guys haven't seen it. I'm rapping and shit. If you want to hear some raps, check them out. Thank you guys always for supporting. Thanks for the birthday wishes. Thank you guys for continuously supporting Grapsody, showing up, giving up super chats, giving up humper chats, and existing and being cool and talking to Phil and I all the time. It's really dope. We appreciate y'all. We'll be back next week. I was like, do we have anything tonight? No, we don't.
No, we ain't got nothing tonight. What do you mean?
Collision. I thought maybe I was gonna hop on with Denise for Collision, but I don't think so, you guys.
Hey man, watch Cresta and the gang doing the post show for Collision. I was on post show last week. I will not be there tonight, but Cresta and the gang will hold you down. I believe Iridian and Rick will be in the building for you guys. Enjoy Collision with two guys that we did not think were supposed to be still wrestling in 2024.
Unreal.
But this is wrestling right now. Anything is possible, I guess. I guess that's a great note to end on. This is Grapsody. I'm Phil Lindsey. Righteous Reg. We are out of here.